Welcome to the Sports Showcase event on Hartford TV. I'm Ray Ruse, and I am here with my broadcast partner, Travis Ruse. We are at Edgewood High School for the Chesapeake Divisional Championship Track and Field meet. We have 8 teams in this meet today. You are currently seeing the 4x800 relay for the girls. We have Aberdeen, C. Milton Wright, Bel Air, Edgewood, Hartford Tech, Rising Sun, Perryville, and Elkton. Travis, welcome to the telecast.
Thank you guys for having me. I'm happy to be a part of it. Witnessing some Hartford TV history here with our first track meet up, and I think it's going to be a great one. Should have some fun races out to watch. I'm happy to be here.
So obviously Travis is my son, folks, and Travis and I both ran track and field. I coached for many years. Travis had his first experience this year of coaching a high school varsity sport, in coaching the C. Milton Wright swim team. So he knows what it's like to have these kind of athletes. I feel like swimmers are a lot like track and field kids, Travis. They're good kids. They're usually really good students too.
Absolutely. It's a lot of intrinsic motivation for sports like track and swimming. Obviously the team aspect still, but at the end of the day, it's what the athlete puts in on the track and the field that what comes out and the meets.
So what you're seeing here right now, folks, is the looks like the Bel Air runner just passed the Edgewood runner. So you get a little bit of gamesmanship going on out there. Edgewood is the #1 seed with a 10:06, whereas Bel Air has a 10:25. But what's so really cool about these kind of events are one team's first and fourth runner might be faster than the other team's fourth and fourth runner, but their second and third runner aren't as fast. So you can see lead changes. And Travis, you've done this event, so you've seen this a lot.
Yeah, absolutely. The 4x8 is a really fun race. And to your point, a team could be out by half of a straightaway, but if they don't have that depth, it's anybody's race coming down the home stretch.
So you see here an overhand technique on one team, palm straight out, and the other team turn palm up. But generally they're handing the baton down more often. That team did the underhand, which is unusual for the 4x8. And Trav, what you see here is a lot of psychological in the 4x8 because you could be feeling not great and you have a 50-meter lead, but your coach is saying push the pace, and the person behind you, they can't see your pain, they can't see your face, so you want to try to run away from it. And as I say that, the Edgewood runner is creeping up on the Bel Air runner.
Absolutely. It definitely is a lot of a mental race for the 800, whether you want to attack it on that first lap or find your pace, settle in, and then kick. To your point, it does look like our Edgewood runner is definitely going for it in her first lap.
You got to watch out expending too much of your energy in the first 400 of an 800 too. So the Bel Air runner, she seemed like she let her catch up to her, and then she said, oh, nope, and then she picked the pace up, and that's another psychological thing. When somebody has to work to make up 40, 50 meters, good shot of Jerry Henderson down there was coaching his Edgewood runner. Jerry is the longtime Edgewood High School track coach and cross country, and also an outstanding runner. The last time I ever did a road race, Trav, you and Mom and Jamie came and watched me, and I was awful because I was too old and I wasn't feeling well. And Jerry won the race by, it seemed like literally a mile. And then he's one of those people that doesn't even look tired after he runs a 15-minute 5K. Kind of makes you angry a little bit.
Yeah, definitely been there myself.
So Donnie Mickey is the longtime C. Milton Wright coach, and he coached Travis for 4 years of track and 2 of cross country. And Donnie was also an outstanding runner in his time. And still, both of them love to run with their runners.
It definitely helps the team morale, I will say. Knowing that my coaches were out there with me, especially on our long run days, definitely held us more accountable and encouraged us to put forth our best effort. And I know that still translates to the teams today.
So you seem like you have a 2-team race here, and Bel Air is really pushing the pace. And Bel Air is coached by Sharon Pickett and Julian Pickett, not related. Both very good coaches. Sharon's been involved with the Hartford Track Club for years, which is my old team, the Hartford County Gliders, and I was so glad to see her and her family continue that tradition. And that was a little bit of a slow handoff there, Trav.
Yeah, the 800 handoff is an interesting one because as your runner's coming in, you got to adapt to them the same as they're adapting to you. And any lead changes at the last second, people got to shift over. It can be tricky.
Edgewood girl's going for it here. She passed quickly. You don't usually want to pass on the turn or run extra laps on the turn, but if you're feeling it and you see the pace of the person next to you, we don't know. This Edgewood runner might have a time 10 seconds faster than the Bel Air runner, and she thinks, I'm just going to break her.
Absolutely, and you see two really good strides there, especially on this shot right here. A long stride is really beneficial in an 800 race.
So this is the psychological part of the race. You have an Edgewood runner who passed her quickly. She took a 5-meter lead, but then the Bel Air girl basically told herself, I can't let her get away from me too far. Because again, we don't know what anchors are like. When I ran track, we were pretty balanced, and we had a 4x8. We had 4 very good runners. And if I was ever lucky enough to be in the 4x8, like you, I experienced a lot of time where I was the 5th guy.
Yeah.
And but that's just the experience of being on a really good team. And when you ran at Seamount Right, you had a lot of good runners, 800 to 3,200. But I've been on teams where our anchor was way faster than everybody else. And your job for the first 3 legs was keep it close for so-and-so.
Right.
And then let them do their thing.
Yeah, absolutely. That last runner can be crucial for especially that second place team. Like right now we have Edgewood and Bel Air in a close race. And to your point, we're not sure the individual times, but if that anchor for Bel Air can catch up and close that gap, it's going to be an interesting race down the stretch.
So right now, this is Edgewood runner is extending the lead here, and she's putting on a burst here, and that leads me to an interesting thing here for the anchor for Edgewood. So the last thing the Edgewood anchor wants to do is let the Bel Air runner anchor catch her in the first 200. You want to make them have to work to come get you. So I'm interested to see what kind of pace both of these two go. Now that seems like a tough distance to get, but I've seen it. Good job by the Hartford Tech runner here, coming in.
Yeah, we got a close race for third too between Tech and Seamount Right, it looks like.
So it looks like the Bel Air runner is closing in a little bit, but the one advantage that the Edgewood runner has is she can just relax and run her pace. And then if the Bel Air runner catches her, she could do what we call a burst, where she just kind of takes off and puts in a good tough 150, because the Bel Air runner is going to have to hurt a little bit to catch up.
Yeah, that last kick is where you see it. I know we're still in the first lap of this 800 for the anchors, but you do definitely have to push it to close that gap. So
what people don't know that don't know track and field really well is I think this is the most painful race of all track and field. They call this at the professional level a sprint, and that's just crazy. I mean, and of course those people are doing like 145s and 150s and stuff like that, and it's not the 2 mile and the 3,200 and 1,600. Yes, these people have great endurance, and that's difficult too. 400 is tough. The 200 and 100 is pure speed. But this 800, I mean, you've got people running this that used to be 200 and 400 dashers. And they've moved up with their speed, gained their endurance, and then they go out there and they run these crazy times.
Yeah, the 800 is a fun race. You have, to your point, your distance runners that might not have that natural speed, but they have the endurance for the last lap. But those sprinters can push it, and some of them survive, and some of them, that last lap is tough.
Edgewood girl's doing a really good job maintaining that gap, and she's picking up the pace right now. She's doing a smart thing here. She could be hurting, and this is the psychological part that people don't know about running. She could be hurting right now, but she does not want the Bel Air girl to know that.
Right, you
so
don't show it.
she's pushing it. But look at this. She's really kicking it in.
Wow.
She was, she's clearly one of the, I'm looking forward to seeing her if she does the Open 8. Looks like our time was around 10:16, folks. We'll get results later. Bel Air coming in nicely on second place here.
And I saw when the Edgewood runner finished her first lap, she came in right about 9 minutes. So she came in that last 400 at about 1:19.
Wow. So we got Harvard Tech closing in hard on the Sea Mountain right. We had a good shot of our, I want to say that's Perryville maybe in the, no, Elkton in the purple. Elkton would be in the purple. So as we're getting to the conclusion of this race, folks, the boys will start making their way down for the 4x800 for them. And looking at the 4x800 for the boys, Bel Air is the #1 seed with an 8:45. Edgewood has a 9:05, and then Rising Sun has a 9:08. Sea Mountain with a 9:10, Perryville with a 9:14, Harvard Tech with a 9:20. So if the seeding holds to be true, we'll see if Bel Air can run away from the rest of them, Travis. But 2 through 6 looks like it could be a real pack.
It's definitely wide open. 9 seconds might look like a big jump, but with 4 runners, everybody drops a couple seconds and they're right there.
So the other thing about this, folks, if you might not know, is there is a team aspect to this too. So Travis coached swimming, and I coached it for many years. You had a girls champion, you had a boys champion, and then you had an overall. In track and field and cross country, there is no combined score. It is just a boys champion and just a girls champion. And at the end of the meet, we'll put the results on the graphics. So it looks like a good job here coming in.
Good close.
Now, I will also say this, Travis, that people don't know scoring. It's first 6 places score. First place is 10 points, 8 for second, 6, 4, 2, 1. So in a sport like swimming, they double the points for relays. But in track and field, they don't. So because of that, there's a different strategy with running. So I'll give you an example, and you may have one with people you ran with. I ran with a boy who, he could be on our 4x8, and he was sometime. But he was also the state champion in cross country, the 3,200, the mile, and he could still run like a 1:58, 800. So we, especially if we had a 2-day meet, it was smarter for the coaches to put him in 3 individual events. And he got 30 points just in the individual events. I'm trying to think of people doing your area, but I know there were some that...
Namely, I would think, names that could pop up are Peter Capizzoli. He was a grade younger than me, class of 2022. A year older would be Brandon Cruz. Brandon went on to run at Wilmington University, and he was definitely that runner too, where he could go out, he'd win the 32. He'd go out, he'd win the mile. And one of the first times he got put in the 800, because he was usually in the more distance events, he popped off at 2:05. And the rest of us, semi-frustrated, but frustrated, but proud of him at the same time. But that just shows how well-rounded some of these athletes are, and how versatile they can be for their team.
So we, to that point, we had, I'm sure there were times that people in your 4x8 were thinking, if Brandon could just run on our 4x8. But Donnie was smart in letting him score all those points in the 3,200 and the 1,600. And nowadays, a lot of people, they literally specialize. We got the last team finishing in there, I think.
That was a good kick at the end there.
Yes. So one thing that's tough about these kind of meets, Trav, before I get back to my point, is there's only 6 teams. So you could finish far behind other teams and still be good. This is a championship meet. This is the best of everybody's best. So in this 4x800, this might be the fastest 800 runners on each team, but it might not be.
Right.
And my point is, like, there could be somebody in this meet that's running the 400 and the 800. And the coach wants them to come back and do the 4x400. So that's why they're not available for the 4x8. Some of these athletes do field events too. So your sprinters sometimes are running from the 100 to the long jump and back and forth.
We're kicking off our men's 4x800 relay right here.
Yep. So you'll see here what they do is they put the inside runner is the highest seed. So you might see some jockeying on the turn here. This is something that both Donnie and Coach Dad try to teach Travis about and say, don't get boxed in, don't get cut off. I have to say, Travis, in all honesty, you got a lot better at it your junior, senior year than you did your first 2 years.
My stubbornness held me back a little bit freshman, sophomore year, but.
Well, one thing that you'll see is you actually, if you ever watch track and field on TV, like at the world level, you'll even see advanced runners get their legs tangled up on the start. And you want to protect your position with your arms, but you also don't want to get your feet tangled up. So you see Bel Air just taking off here.
Wow.
So it looks like 1 team and then 5. So I'm really curious to see. He came through with near a minute, Trav, so I'm really curious to see what kind of leadoff leg he can have.
This is definitely an impressive start for Bel Air. Coming in a minute in your split for an 800, this could be interesting how he comes back.
He has a nice stride. So people don't realize this, but when you run, if you can stride out naturally, and then I used to say push the ground behind you with your feet because it pushes you into your next stride. I actually used to do drills with my athletes on pushing the ground behind you because you don't want to just pick up your foot, put it down, pick up your foot, put it down. You want to push, and then it lengthens your stride. And he has a nice stride. You got our number 2 runner here coming up a little bit and seeing if they can make this a little bit closer. Seeing what team that is. Travis looks like it went to be one of our teams from Cecil County here. So this is pretty spread out here for the seedings being as close as they are. So a lot's going to really depend on each team's depth as to the places. That was a nice handoff by Hartford Tech. Or maybe that was Perryville. Some of these colors are close together, Travis.
Right, a lot of reds, a lot of whites out there. It's tough to follow.
So the second Bel Air runner looks strong, but it looks like 2 of our teams are thinking they can close this up a little bit. The Edgewood runners picking it up a little bit on the back stretch. They're closing down on them a little bit.
Hey, the fun thing about relays is it's still anybody's race.
Yes.
We're only 2 minutes and 50 seconds into it, and fastest seed time's at 8:45, so a lot can happen in that second half.
It's a beautiful day out here right now. It's a slight breeze. You can see the tape in the inner part of the track bouncing around a little bit for the breeze, but that's one of the reasons that you do something, folks, called drafting. So if there is a strong breeze, when the person that you're running with is running a very close speed to you, you don't want to draft off somebody that's too fast or too slow. But if they're right on the pace you want, you get right behind them, they block the wind for you, and then when you have the wind to your back, it's help pushing you.
Definitely, and we can see that Edgewood runner, I think, just took advantage of that same strategy. Kind of sat behind the second place team, and now is making their move for maybe even catching the lead. He's got a good stride going right now.
Yeah, he's really going, and it looked like the Bel Air runner figured out that he was getting close in a little bit, and he picked it up a little bit. You're going to see right about here whether the Edgewood runner expended too much energy in the first 700 or if he's still got anything left. And then we've got 3, 4, 5 really battling each other.
What a move.
Strong. The C. Milton right runner?
Yeah, C. Milton making the move on the turn. See if he can get around him at the handoff.
So, folks, they line the people off for the next handoff in this race based on what position they come off the turn. Sometimes you'll see the starter and the officials jostling the runners around if somebody passes each other. But that's big because you want to get that handoff and cut ahead of your competition going into the next curve. Third Bel Air runner is taking off, Travis.
Absolutely. We just had a good shot a second ago of showing that long stride coming around the corner. Looks like C. Milton's closing in a little bit on Edgewood now, too. Moving up to possibly in the second place spot. And there's that shot again of that great stride from our Bel Air runner.
Wow. Like the shoes.
I was thinking the same thing.
Yeah, anybody in Travis's generation is way more into the shoes than us old guys like me. But even I think they're cool. But I can't pull them off, Trav. I don't think I could pull them off.
Oh, you could pull it off.
You guys are probably telling me, Dad. just don't. So Edgewood runner sticking with the, as the Bel Air runner comes through here for their second lap, Edgewood's right on the back of Sea Mountain Right.
And I got to give a shout out to that Sea Mountain Right runner, Luke Bahala, one of my swimmers.
I think he's in the 2 mile later today, so he is one of the ones doing one of those doubles or triples we talked about. Donnie's very good about that, though, and that's one of the benefits of him having depth through the years. He didn't ask you guys very often to do 3 races in one day. Very rarely 3, more often 2 or 1.
Right. Now, I specifically remember Donnie actually sharing us a horror story about when he had to do that in college. He did I think he even did the 4, the 8, the mile, and the 32.
Wow. Yeah, my teammate Danny Boyle, who is 60 years old, and he still runs 230, 240 marathons. Ran into him a couple years ago. He won the Colorado marathon, and he did the 4x8, the mile, the 2 mile, and the 800 all in one meet.
Wow.
I would have been dead if I did 2 of them. So Luke's coming in here with a nice strong stride, and see what his teammate can do here, holding off for, if he can hold him off for hold second place. So second and third is in doubt, Trav, and then 4th and 5th is a real battle here.
Yeah, it's going to come down to those anchors again. Looks like the Tech anchor is going for it, but other team right behind.
So we have a good shot at the second and third battle here between Edgewood runners coming on strong. So it'll be interesting to see what they have left when they go that hard. Now, you might see the Edgewood runner just pass. And even though they're coming into a turn, now we got a good shot of our Bel Air leader here. Also really cool shoes with the yellow neon. That would show up if we were going in the dusk.
Something else to point out to the viewers, you can see on the left chest of the Bel Air runner is that #1 sticker. That's just to show the seating coming into the race for each of our teams. And it's interesting to see if those seats hold throughout.
So you have 2 different running styles here. We got a big leaning motion on the Sea Mountain Right runner. And he did a good job holding off the Edgewood runner. The Edgewood runner was off camera, but he tried to pass him on the turn, and he made him run extra yards on the turn. So every time you can make your opponent run an entire turn, a lane out, they run an extra 3 meters. And that's going to end up being a factor. So,
it definitely catches up to you on that close of the race.
So you see him on the backside of the track there. Before you know it here, Trav, 4th and 5th are actually creeping into the picture of 2nd and 3rd. Bel Air is definitely going to pull away with this win, and I'm looking forward to seeing in time.
Well, to your point about 4th and 5th, it's what we were talking about before the race even started. That 9-second gap can quickly get smaller and smaller as we're coming around the last turn.
Strong finish for Bel Air coming to the line here. Looks like they're right around 8:49, 8:50. Sea Mountain Right did a little burst here at the end, and let's see if they can hold it off. Second Sea Mountain. Oh my, that's going to be a down to the wire. We're going to see that result. That team come on to Edgewood really strong at the end there. So what you're going to see here, folks, is let's see what we got here, Trav. Tell me what you think. Oh,
I think that last foot.
So it's the chest.
It's the chest, though, yeah.
That counts, so I can't see. So luckily, folks, we have electronic timering equipment here that'll get us that result, and we'll get that to you later. But what a great finish there. So now we're getting ready for the 100, 110 hurdles, folks. So you have here that I have 6 heats. So they have them, they do the hurdles now, and then they will come back with 100 dashes. And this is a tough decision for coaches. I was able to run both, Travis, and I was only like 5'4", 5'6", 5" my freshman year. with little legs.
Shrimp.
Travis is much taller than me, folks. Those high hurdles were high. And this takes speed, agility, and it also takes some flexibility because you have to get that lead leg up and down. And I have a couple friends here that are very good hurdle coaches, and this was one of my specialties. Now you're seeing that they have them spaced out, folks, to where it's a lane between each lane hurdle. They can do that in meets like this. So we have the start of this race. You have the Sea Mountain Right runner in the lead here. That looks like that's Maya Haney, and she's running against Natalia Battle.
I commend anybody brave enough to try the hurdles, though.
I tried to get Travis to do this. He did not want to have any part of this. So it looks like the Sea Mountain Right runner got the victory there. And a good sign, folks, to show you that people are good at running the meet. That 4x800 finished, and we already had the starter down there ready to start the 100 hurdles. And they got the meet, kept going. So right now in Heat 2, we have Marissa Reiser from Bel Air in lane 2, and we have Amy Bowen from Sea Mountain Right in lane 3. So what you're going to see here is different techniques in the start. It is a sprint, so the coaches prefer you to get in the blocks and come out and drive hard to the first hurdle. Again, Travis, this is one of the reasons this will make you and 95% of track and field people nervous, is you're told to not stand up right away. So the Sea Mountain Right runner did a little bit better job driving hard to the hurdle.
Close race.
Yeah, it's going back and forth here. They're both doing right leg, lead leg. Well, we had the Bel Air runner is doing a 4-step. So if you see her go over with her right leg once and then her left leg, that's outstanding. So you have 3 different techniques in hurdles and steps between the hurdles. A lot of people that are more inexperienced do 5 steps, and they go over right leg lead or left leg lead every hurdle. The downfall of that, unless you're small with shorter legs, is you're chopping your steps a little bit more. We have Kendall Faber in Sea Mountain Right lane 2, Giselle Lopez lane 4 for Elkton, and Perryville's Colby Rondon. Let's watch this race, and I'll get back to talking about the steps a little bit more. Close race here.
Absolutely. And you can see that those different approaches between all 3 of those runners right about now.
So it looked like our middle lane there for Elkton, Giselle Lopez might have gotten that. Our 4th heat of 6, we're going to have Jalen Strand in lane 2 from Perryville, Maddie Clary from Rising Sun in lane 4, and Abigail Finley in lane 6 from Bel Air. So what I was saying is, as you watch this start, folks, is you're going to see some people, it sounds funny because your runners literally think they're going to run head first into the hurdle because you tell them to drive out hard and low like you do in any other sprint, and you only want them to coming up a couple steps before the hurdle so that they have full breakout speed, because any sprint, including hurdles, your start is your race. So let's see here if we see a difference between 4-step, 5-step, 3-step. Looks like our left leg lead for the inside lane. She's doing 4 steps, Trav.
Textbook.
Yeah, that's Abigail Finley. Nice lean.
Good finish, yeah.
So it is your chest, folks, that is what your torso and your chest is what determines who's first place. So somebody's leg can cross first, but it doesn't matter. It's the chest.
That's why at the end we saw our runner from Bel Air, I believe it was, have that aggressive lean forward, try to get those extra couple seconds off.
So we're up to the 5th of 6 heats, folks, and this is where most of your point scoring is going to happen. And you saw a couple runners practicing their first hurdle or 2 if the official will let them do it. So we have Faith Andreen from Hartford Tech in lane 2. We have Meredith Havader from Rising Sun in lane 4. And we have Destiny Baker from Hartford Tech in lane 6. And one thing I did not point out is in these sprints, the middle lanes are the higher seat. So you go from middle out, just like you do a swim meet. So we have a good start here. We have a hurdle hit, unfortunately, but she will keep going, and I admire her for that.
Wow.
She's coming back strong. She was our leader. Now that's outstanding because even hitting a hurdle, she's competing with all the people that ran before her for the top 6 time. And those points matter in a meet like this. So now we're coming to our fastest heat here, folks. And we got Winter Evans from Hartford Tech in lane 2. We have lane 4, we have Katie Callahan from Rising Sun, and we have Sage North from Elkton. So I'm a little bit confused because in all the other heats, our faster seeded time was in lane 4, Travis, but in this one, it's saying that Winter has a 15:22 seed time, and she's in the lane 2. So there might be a number error here, but we'll have an idea when we watch this race. So this one should be for the gold medal, folks, the first place. So let's see what happens here. Oops, the official did not like something there, Travis. So when they asked the girls to stand, it could either be noise from somebody else, and he doesn't like that because he wants quiet for the start, or somebody was moving and he didn't want them to be in a false start position.
Something else to point out about the starts from the blocks is you see that teammate behind them anchoring down the blocks, avoid any injuries or any slipping.
And that's important too because they actually do have blocks that have like a spike type thing in it, but they don't want that spike grating against the track and ruining it. So that was a great start. So she obviously had the fastest seed time. Look at that speed and technique.
Gliding right over the hurdles.
Yes. Wow. Now I don't have the official time here, but I can't wait to see it. That was fast.
That was quick.
So I was lucky enough to coach some of the top hurdlers ever in this county, much faster than Coach Ray. And one of my girls won the state championship. And the very first time she ran the hurdles for me, Trav, Thori Bryan was Thori Staples. She was in the World Cup soccer team for USA. She was national champion in the heptathlon. She stopped at her first hurdle and then like kind of crawled over it. So to show you that even the best can be intimidated when they first start this. So coach, what they're doing right now is they're changing the spots because the boys are 110 hurdles and the girls are 100 hurdles. And they're changing the height of the hurdle. So Travis, I wanted to refinish that story. 3 steps is very difficult. 3 steps means you're picking your dominant leg that you like to go over with or push off with, whichever one feels more comfortable to you. 3 steps you will see with some of these boys possibly means they have to have a very strong long stride. And is more of a bump, bump, bump rhythm, bump, bump, bump rhythm between hurdles. It looks slower, but it's actually faster if you can master it. So when I got Thori doing 3 steps, she got down to 15:1.
Wow.
And I think she eventually broke 15. But more often than not, it's more common to see 4 steps. And that means you have to be, it's kind of like a soccer player being able to shoot with both feet or a basketball player shoot with both hands. You have to be comfortable in both legs and you can really speed through it. 5 steps for boys, even though there's a further distance with their longer legs. 5 steps, you're kind of putting your brakes on the entire time.
What's impressive about any of the approaches is maintaining it throughout the race.
Oh, definitely.
It can easily get you off of your rhythm, and then mid-race you got to make the decision, am I going to get back into it? Am I going to adapt? How am I going to move forward? And it's really impressive to see that switch right in the middle of the track, especially on such a short race like the 100 and 110 hurdles.
So we have in our first heat, again, we have 6 heats. In lane 2, we have Maxwell Burris from Edgewood. In lane 2, we have Gideon Konensky from Rising Sun. Their times are almost identical. So, so we are doing well.
And you had mentioned Thori breaking just about 15 and getting down to 15:01. Winter Evans, it looks like her result came in at a 15.43. So
wow,
that's amazing. And it looks, according to Athletic, that Winter's a sophomore. So plenty of time to improve.
So we had a good tight race here, Coach. Coach Travis, I'm Coach. Oh, we had a fall there. Um, Travis is a coach, so I can call him Coach. I'm used to working with much older people than Travis who have been coaching for like 40 years. Now, what you saw there, folks, was a fall, and there's multiple kind of falls in the hurdle. You want to lead with your knee up and push your heel out in your technique, and then drive your lead leg down. Why that's important isn't just your speed, but also if you hit the hurdle with your bottom of your foot, you can knock the hurdle down and stay on your feet. If you catch the hurdle in a kicking up motion with your toe catching it, you're doing a face plant, and it can be very dangerous. So right here, Travis, in the second heat, we have, again, 2 runners, Gavin Stowell from Edgewood lane 2, Logan Zahn from Rising Sun in lane 4. So you have a 5-step approach for both runners, I think, here, Travis. And as you can see when they say that, as you see the choppy steps a little bit more, they're not showing the confidence of striding out. And you know what? That'll come. They will learn that. And once they learn to take one less step, it's all the comfort of being fine with your opposite foot leading. I mean, I'm sure
fatigue definitely comes into it as well. You see that more down the stretch than off the gun.
Well, I remember it took me a while to get you to take a left-handed layup. So that's the part about sports, is getting an athlete to be willing to do the non-dominant hand or non-dominant leg. Jaden Proctor is from Perryville in lane 2. Deshaun Henderson is Perryville also in lane 4, and Messiah Noel from Bel Air. Travis was a very versatile athlete. He played travel basketball, but he was also a swimmer, so he decided to do that in high school instead. He played soccer for 2 years, cross country for 2 years. Track friends talked him into switching over to cross country, didn't they, Trav?
Yeah, I have a vivid memory talking to Coach Donnie, closing down my freshman's track season about cross country.
So it looks like Alex Curry, it looks like we're missing a runner in the middle here, Trav. Looks like the one Perryville runner must not have been able to make the meet. Very close. Well, that came down to like about a yard there. And your coach wants you to do a quick lean at the end there. Chop those couple seconds off. Not seconds, tenths of a second off. So in our fourth heat of 6, we have Alex Curry from Seamount Wright in lane 2, Leo Dinnan in lane 4 from Bel Air, Sean Karachin in lane 6 from Bel Air. So you will see here, I'm very confused about that girls' race, why the top seed was in lane 2 for that one race when every other race we're seeing here, it's 4, 6, 2 on seed times. Very similar to swimming. It's a good start there. So our middle leg here for sure, and it looks like our 2 Bel Air runners are doing 3 steps the whole way. Very close.
Those look like those could be some best times if I caught the clock when they finished, right?
Mm-hmm. I did decent in the 100 hurdles again, Travis, but my height and leg length was a problem, so I much preferred the 300 hurdles. Some of my best teammates would not do the hurdles. And we still had some good hurdlers, but I'm a firm believer that you take somebody that's a good 100 dasher, but not going to be the champion, and they're athletic, and you teach them how to hurdle, and they can be great.
And confident.
Yes. It's similar to the pole vault.
Right.
You know, people may make fun of it, but then once they go over and they try it, they're like, I'm not sure I like this too much. My coach made me try it, Travis, and I went over to my friends, and they were told to teach me. And I did it. And I got over 2 or 3 heights, and they kept raising the bar. And I got over another one. They're like, that was good. You should do this. I said, I don't like it. I'm up here too high. I don't feel comfortable.
When I found out that the hurdles could get raised, that's when I walked away.
Wait till you see the 300 hurdles, folks. It's a test of agility, speed, and stamina. You know, you really got to watch out. People actually practice pacing that because you don't want to come to the last hurdle and be as tired as you are, because then tripping over the last hurdle or two could be dangerous. So we have a little delay there, and then we've started. We have Ty Stifler from Perryville in lane 2. We have Junior Addermallen in Hartford Tech in 4, and Troy Wallace. Wow, this is close.
This is going to come right down
Hartford
to it.
From Edgewood wow, I would not want to be the official there. Well, you know, Travis, their seed times were very close, and it proved itself to be. That one's going to be interesting, folks, because, you know, these points matter, and all 3 of them should have been good or better than the last heat. Well, let's see here. Let's watch this lean. Whoa. So it's definitely the outside 2 lanes. Looked like they got the inside lane there, Trav. What do you think?
Yeah, definitely between 2 and 6. I might give the edge to 6.
Yes, yes. So we have the final and fastest heat of the 110 boys hurdle. Travis Bear in lane 2, Corey Reevy in lane 4, and Calvin Karaja in lane 6. Literally, we are talking 0.3 of a second between the first and third seed here, Travis. So one slip up on your start, one slip up on your tipping one hurdle can throw you off.
Track is such an exciting sport. It's definitely a sport that if you're not familiar with it, might not be something you look into too much, but I hope we get a lot of needed attention after this meet.
Very good technique. Looks like we're missing a runner here, Trav. It's a shame. Middle lane has the lead. Wow. Definitely
Way to finish.
Looked like our top seed there. Corey Reevy finished first there. And looked like we were missing, unfortunately, Travis Bear from lane 2. So you could have sicknesses and injury here that we don't know about.
Definitely. I'm also curious now who's going to squeak in from the heat before. We know Troy Wallace, we think Troy Wallace won that last heat, but a couple of those other times might be pretty close.
So, folks, part of running a meet, you have hurdle crew. So you have a group of runners or managers or friends who are literally telling us, they're told by the coach, you have to clear 2 hurdles. So Travis, give us any results you have here.
Yeah, so we did just get the live results, and it looks like Troy Wallace Jr. did actually end up winning the whole race.
Really?
So Troy popped out a 15.9 and just beat out Ty Stifler, also from the second fastest heat,
yeah.
0.1. So that replay we took definitely proved to be a close one.
So for those of you that are wondering also, let's see if we can get our girls' results for the 100 hurdles, Trav.
We have Winter Evans coming in first place from the girls' 100 hurdles at a 15.43. Katie Callahan from Rising Sun with a 17.12. And third place is Destiny Baker with a 17.73.
So that just shows you it's similar to when we coach swimming and we tell the people that are in the second fastest heat, win your heat, get the best time you can, and see how many people you can beat. That's not common for first and second place to come out of the second fastest heat. That's very impressive, and they pushed each other to the line. Now, for those of you that don't know track and field as well, sometimes track and field championship meets are 2-day meets, and sometimes they're 1-day meets. So in a 1-day meet format, they're doing just heats, and the best times win. Sometimes in the 2-day meets, the 100 hurdles, the 110 hurdles, the 100 dash, and the 200 dash have trials. And then the winners of each heat move on to the final. So right here we have 100 dash girls, and we have Natalie Quezada from Bel Air in lane 2, Caroline Lee from Seamount Wright in lane 3, and Sarah Carvin from Seamount Wright in lane 4. So it looks like we're missing one runner here. Looks like it's the Bel Air runner. Teammate against teammate here. So Travis, I was like the one of the fastest guys on the soccer team, and there's always the fastest guy on the football team. There's always a good fast. You don't realize how many people in your school are fast until you go out for the track team. So I was a fan of other sports, and I knew some people on the other teams. And I got out there, and I thought, nobody's ever been able to catch me. Well, yeah, there was 3 or 4 guys on the track team that could catch me and beat me. And I was very proud to make the 4x100 a relay and things like that. But I also had a teammate who was state champion in the 100, 200, 400 level. And he was down in like the low 10s. And that is such a difference. Now, like I told you before, watching this heat here, let me get some names. Mercedes Figueroa, Mary McDowell, Samantha Donovan, Carly McDowell, so sisters from Rising Sun, Shanae Sutton, and Kennedy Johnson here in this heat. And it looks like Edgewood is pulling out to the lead here. It's Samantha Donovan. And you know what? This shows you what's enjoyable about doing this. And Don, you've seen this. I'm pretty sure Samantha Donovan was the point guard, one of the point guards for the Edgewood basketball team. And I really enjoyed calling that basketball game. And look at her speed.
That's what I love so much about track and field. To your point, it's a lot of 2 and 3 sporters that maybe they take the approach that this is training for the other sport, or if you're an athlete like me, have an experience with, as I did with track, it can slowly turn into your sport.
Yeah, when I coach track, I try to get everybody out from the other sports. So right now we have Lorraine Lee from Aberdeen in lane 1, Amanda Anson from Aberdeen in lane 2, Caitlin Martin, Rising Sun in 3, Autumn Jackson, Edgewood 4, Kemba Butler from Edgewood 5, and Savannah Bennett from Perryville. Looks like we have the Aberdeen girls coming out to the lead here. See if one, yeah,
Ooh,
the teammate.
Outside smoke.
Wow. So that was Lorraine Lee running against her teammate Amanda Anson, and Amanda had the lead for the 90 meters, Trav.
Yep. And to your point, we talked about this with the 100 hurdles. We have 1, 2, 3 girls in that time with the exact same seed time of 13.84, and 0.3 of a second separated 6th and 1st for seed times. It'll be interesting to see what it comes down to today.
So this is our fast seed, folks, of the 400 for the 100 girls, and we have Johnson Jamie in Bel Air in lane 1, Myvan Ewing from Elkton in lane 2, Madison Morgan from Harvard Tech in lane 3, Madison Bob, Harvard Tech, lane 4. Morel, I think it's Miracle. What a cool name. Miracle Miles from Elkton in lane 5, and Maureen Odobati from Harvard Tech in lane 6. So not surprising, Travis, to see Harvard Tech here. And then you got Madison Bob, whose older sister is national level, and look at her go. Following in her sister's footsteps. Let's see if she can out-lean. That was close, Travis. And then, not surprising, Madison Morgan was the top seed there, but it looked like Madison Bob might have taken that race.
Looked like it. Holding her form throughout the race is such an impressive thing to do. And looked like both Madisons out there did a really good job of doing that.
People don't realize that if you watch Olympic race head on, their concentration, their face, their head is completely still, and people don't realize that you don't want wasted motion. You want your arms to go straight up and down forward, not cross body, and you want your feet to have a nice perfect stride. So we'll get you those results in a second, folks, for the girls 100. And I will tell you that we have the boys' first heat of 4 coming up here, and we have Connor Burkhart from Rising Sun in lane 1, Micah Graham, Bel Air lane 2, Logan Sabatino, Bel Air lane 3, Aiden Valentin, Bel Air lane 4, and Richie DePilla, Rising Sun lane 5. So all 3 Bel Air entries, Travis, are in the same heat, running against each other, and they're 200ths of a second apart from each other. Okay, so this is our boys 100-meter dash. same distance as the girls. It's only the hurdles that they change the distance in the sprint.
Looks like our results came in from the girls 100 meter, and Madison Bob did just take the win with a 12:57. Madison Morgan with a close second, 12:64, and 3 for 3 Hartford Tech with Maureen Onyebody in third with a 13:09.
Well, that is big for the team's points here for Hartford Tech, trying to repeat as girls champions. They won last year, and the Bel Air boys won the boys competition last year.
And it looks like Madison and Maureen both got 2 PRs with that race, so good races, girls.
So you'll see your starter, he puts the gun up, and then often he'll put his second hand up on the set, and then he'll shoot the gun. Okay, let's see what kind of start we have here. Looks like we have our lane 5 runner, Aiden Valentin, took off there, Trav.
That was a great start right from the beginning from Aiden. It's really important to get out in these short sprints. Your start can make or break the whole race.
So I'm going to go on record saying he's probably going to get a PR because his seed time was right with the other ones, and he beat them by a good 4 yards, 4 meters. So our second heat of the 100-meter dash is Thomas Nutt from C. Milton Wright in lane 1, Dwayne Roper from Hartford Tech lane 2, Josh Burke lane 3 from Rising Sun, Matt Luke for C. Milton Wright in lane 4, Markel Shelton from Aberdeen lane 5, and Jaden Biard from Perryville in lane 6. So it looks like our inside 2 lanes here are within 0.06 of a second of each other. So let's see what the difference is between the start and how much that impacts the race. As we're getting ready for this, you'll have other runners out in the infield warming up because our 1,600-meter run is next. And they try to alternate distant race, sprint race, middle distance race to give the people a chance to recover from their events, Trav. So let's see what we got here. Looks like the C. Milton Wright runner was in the lead early. Let's see if he can hold on. And he does.
It's a great race all around from all those boys.
So the third heat of 400-meter boys dash here is Elijah Christie from Hartford Tech in lane 1, Dante Evans from Hartford Tech in lane 2, Sean Beard from Perryville in lane 3, Frank Barnett from Edgewood in lane 4, Isaiah Hussler in lane 5 from Edgewood, and Solomon Pope from also Elkton in lane 6. So now we're going to get to that point, Travis, where the fastest runners in this race could sneak into the top 6.
Definitely. Another thing that's going to be interesting about a lot of these runners in the next 2 heats is we might see them again later on in that 4x1. You were talking about the 4x8, how some of them do the open and the relay.
Yes.
You see that a lot with our sprinters.
The only time you don't see your fastest 4x100 runners in the fastest 100-meter runners in the 4x1 is if they are also great at the long jump and the triple jump or something else. So more often than not, you're going to see this, and you can see the depth here at the top. I'm seeing 2 Edgewood runners in the fast heat. I'm seeing a lot of the same schools in the top 2 heats. Perryville has 2 or 3 runners. Elkton has a couple. So it should be a really good 4x1.
And we just saw on that last shot, right before the each race, you see each person has their own little pre-race routine.
Wow. Elkton runner got out fast there.
Let's see, lane 3 might have snagged second.
So that would look like Isaiah Hussler pulled out that race. So let's see if he can sneak into the top 6. His seed time is only 1/10 off of the 5th and 6th seed. So anything can happen. Now I'm really curious to see if Landon Krebs, it might be tough today, Travis, to break 11 with this wind, but we'll see. It depends on whether it's to their back or can't really see. I don't see any flags out here to tell me which direction the wind's coming. It might be coming across the track. So we've got Emmanuel Atanga Jr. from Aberdeen, lane 1. Joshua Brill, Elkton in lane 2. Landon Krebs from C. Milton Wright is our top seed in lane 3. Rocky Ramsland in lane 4 from Perryville. Isaiah Meganson from Edgewood in lane 5. And Jameer Torres from Edgewood in lane 6. So this should be probably in the running, folks, for your champion for the day. Trying to get the runners set here. Sometimes there's a little bit of gamesmanship that goes on here. Some of these sprinters like to be the last one set in the blocks. See how it messes with the other runners. Folks, you can't flinch at all in this. If you move in any way, it is a false start. Some meets, you're out immediately on a false start. Other meets, you are given one foul. So inside lane here, taking off. See if the Cement Right runner can come back. Oh, wow, he might have pulled it out at the end there. We're going to get that result. So that was Emmanuel Atanga from Aberdeen with a great start. And that was, I'm glad you got to see that, folks, because Landon Krebs really had the second half run. And that is different styles here. So let's see if we can see who gets the lean here, Trav.
That was a real close race.
Ooh, I think C. Milton Wright pulled it out. Yes.
Wow.
So for those of you that don't understand this part of track and field, some people will make the misconception or misstatement to say that so-and-so accelerated faster at the end. It's actually the opposite. It's maintain their speed at the end. So you try to make sure you don't decelerate, if I want to be technical here. And that's going to show that Landon, I have to look down the line here to see if he's in the 200, but he looks like he'd be somebody that'd be really good at the 200 now. Emmanuel, I'd say he's more of a 50-yard dasher champion. So now we have the 1,600-meter run girls heat 1, folks. And we have 10 runners in this race. We have Alden Mister, Sarah Andrews, Anastasia Christie, Ashley Johnson, Isabel Griffith, Caitlin Perry, Iana Berger, Emily Silva, Julia Biggers, and Rosie Diaz. So our top 3 seeds here, Trav, actually our top 4 seeds, 624, 625, 627, 633. So we could have a close race here.
And we did just get those final results from the boys 100 meter. All of these results are our unofficial results, and they could change after the fact. But for now, congratulations to Landon Krebs. He did get that finish at the end from C. Milton Wright. Second place with a huge PR is Emmanuel Atanga from Aberdeen. And in third place from Perryville is Rocky Ramsland with a 11:45. Congratulations, boys.
So, Travis, if you can, go back and find the 4x800 results. And I don't know if it'll give us any names on the winning teams, but if you can, at least call the names of the winning team.
So we did have Bel Air winning the boys 4x8 with an 850.69. I have the last names. It says B. Cho, G. Savoy, J. Parrish, and C. Hammond. C. Milton Wright with a 902.8. Last names Donoram, Lunsford, Skinner, and Pahala. And in third place, we had that close finish between Rising Sun and Edgewood. Went towards Rising Sun with a 903.03. Ferry, McGonigal, McKay, and Haroldson.
So we are here in Heat 1 of the 1,600-meter run, and our meet officials are already doing a great job because we're already 20 minutes ahead of meet pace, so that's awesome. So you see different styles here, Travis. This, again, is a psychological race. So if you're a distance runner who has more speed than other people, you are okay with a slower pace. Now, in a day like today when you have to compare the first heat time to the second heat time, time matters. But if you're running a race, you can say, I'm a sprinter. as a distance runner. If these people want to go a slow pace, good for them, because I'm just going to outkick them at the end.
Right.
Other people, if they don't have that sprint speed at the end and they know two of their competitors very well, they've got to push the pace and basically make those people hurt. And you've been in both situations.
Definitely. I know early on in my running career, I liked the sit and kick approach, kind of hide behind somebody else, and that last lap, give it everything I had. But quickly learned that maybe I could have gone out a little faster. And I think we definitely will see that today with some people taking that approach of kind of hanging in the pack and then going for it at the end. But it's also very, very fun to see that one or two runners go for it right off the jump and see if they can maintain that pace. And that's where we see a lot of PRs.
Well, that's what's really cool about championship meets. It brings out the best in you. So Travis and I coach summer swim team together, and we tell our parents we really want the swimmers to swim in the championship meet weekend at the end, because during the regular season of a track meet or a swim meet, your time differences can be great. So it's hard to find somebody with that time right near you to push you to your best time. Well, in championship meets, you have so many people with such close times that you see a lot of PRs, which is what we refer to as personal records, or, you know, kind of the same thing as a best time. So you're going to see people get 12th, or they're going to get 20th out of 20 today, but they might drop 30 seconds
Exactly.
in their time. And that's what we tell our parents is, don't get mad at your kids if they get 9th out of 10. If they just drop 20 seconds off their time, they had a great day. And most parents get that, Trav.
Yeah, absolutely. It looks like we get a close race right now with our 1-2 runners. I think we have Edgewood and maybe a Perryville.
So the Edgewood runners, if that's Anastasia, she's seated third, and she's decided to go out there with in the top two. But let's see where our Hartford Tech runner is. She
That looks like it's Autumn Mister.
she out? Is she in the lead now? Yes. So it'd be interesting to see what the Aberdeen girl does. She might not be here. You know what, folks? I'm only counting 6 runners, and there's 10 listed in the heat. So we have 4 runners missing from this race. Again, that happens.
Coming through the last lap, good pack right around 4:55-ish.
So we have our Edgewood runner, Anastasia, passed on the turn there. And this is the psychological part. Does her competition go with her? Does Autumn respond? And Autumn is responding right now again. So I used to tell you this: if you're going to pass, don't just pass and then stop and settle in.
Yeah.
If you're going to have the guts and determination to pass, then pass and then break them. So
Absolutely, and I think we just saw that right there from our Hartford Tech runner. Again, I believe that's Autumn Mister. Make the move right after the turn and make that gap a little bit bigger.
So as we say that, I'm telling you, Anastasia just keeps fighting back. So every time she gets past, she passes again. So let's see if Autumn will respond one more time.
Might be one of those battles of who wants it more.
Coming down the straightaway here, folks. Autumn's creeping up again. And let's see. She puts on a sprint. She pulls it off. Let's see if she gets, oh, she's breaking her time, Travis.
These are going to be some good times.
Yeah, I have her right around 6:20, and her best was 6:24, so that's outstanding.
Look like these are all about to be some good times. And just to your point, it's a big meet, big stakes. People show up.
So if this is Ayana from Aberdeen, I have her dropping off a good 10-15 seconds off of her time. So great job. We have one more runner on the track, folks, and as they're waiting for her to finish, the second heat of the 1,600-meter girls will enter the track very soon. I think we've got Edgewood coach Jerry Henderson over there. He monitors that. He's helping out. And by the way, Travis, people don't understand this. In swimming, we have parents' time, and we have officials that are paid, but it's very parent-driven. Well, track and field is probably even more so because it's parent-driven and it's coach-driven. So you will have one team will run a couple coaches from this group of 16 teams. We have a good job finishing here for our Perryville runner. So
Looks like this is Julia Biggers coming in, and I think she has just dropped 17 seconds.
Wow.
So that's a huge PR.
So you'll have two teams who are responsible for running the girls pole vault. Then you have another two teams responsible for running the shot put. And then another team will be responsible for helping out the finish line, which Jerry's doing. And so now for the second heat, it looks like we have most of them. We have Brielle Whitworth from Edgewood as our #1 seed, the 5:23. But Ellie Basham from Simon right behind her for the 5:26. Then we have Anna Callahan from Rising Sun, Camille Miller, Bel Air, Lauren Truman, Simon Wright. And then we have Morgan O'Connor, Hartford Tech, Megan Davis for Bel Air, Lila Vent from Edgewood, Ellie Hansen from Simon Wright, and Ava Neese from Bel Air. Travis is very proud to watch Ellie Hansen run here. She's one of the, if not the best Sea Mountain Right swimmer. And such a hard kid to coach, isn't she, Trav? She just does everything you ask her to do.
Listens all the time.
Listens all the time, works harder than anybody.
Shows up every day. Encourages people.
And a great leader, too, at that. Like, she was a junior, but she was very, sophomore, right?
Mm-hmm.
And she acted like a senior in terms of leadership and dedication.
One thing we saw from this race on the start, we talked about a little bit of jostling right off the gun. You got to make your move real early, even in these distance events, to find that positioning. And there was maybe a little bit of shoulder bumping, but you got to get that position in there to put yourself on the radar.
So you're going to obviously see a quicker pace here, folks, and a more packed bunch. And we talked about the psychology of this. So the top six score. So the 6th seed Morgan O'Connor has a 6:03. Then it's a 6:03. Then it's a 6:06. Then it's a 6:09 and a 6:11. So you're going to see that entire second pack that's going to form has a chance to score for their team, and that's huge.
Every point counts.
So I'm counting 9. Am I counting 9 runners or 10, Trev? I think I count 9, which means somebody would be missing.
I believe it is Ellie Basham from Sea Mountain Right. I didn't see her lined up originally.
Okay, and she was the #2 seed, so that's big. So it'll be interesting to see what these other girls can do. They have an opportunity to move up the spot.
And right now we have a good shot of our lead runner, Brielle, kind of ahead of the pack, but that's a tough race to run by yourself.
Yes.
Too many, I've been there a few times where I'm either running ahead or I'm running behind. And running alone, you're racing your mind and you're racing yourself and you're pushing you and only you to try to get some of those best times. So this is going to be a tough race for Brielle, even though she's got a good lead right now.
So without Ellie Basham running, she has a higher seed time than 3 and 4 by 24 and 26 seconds. So I guarantee you her coach, and you'll see her passing him on the infield, and he is telling her, do not let them in this race. You know, they don't have your speed, so he's basically saying run away from them. And let's see what kind of job she could do with that. As you see the pack come by here, 2-3 is very close, and then 4 through 9 is right on each other.
And to your point about Coach Jerry, if that man is one thing, he is a motivator.
Yes.
He's running all around the turf, cheering on everybody, cheering on the other team. And I think those acts of sportsmanship, that goes a long way.
I used to do that too, Trav, but I don't have his endurance. So I would get some of my assistant coaches and say, you run to the other side of the infield this time. So he is very motivational. Matter of fact, I remember when you ran you told me that he said positive things to you, and
It would-
you were his competition.
Absolutely. I have a specific memory actually about Coach Jerry at a Patterson Mill cross country meet. I was coming around for a best time, and he knew that. And just the fact that an opposing coach could recognize mid-meet and is willing to give some of those tips, tell me to push it,
Yes.
that really shows a lot about his character.
So you're seeing our leader is clearly, maybe 50, 60 meters ahead of second place here. And, but we're also going to notice that once we get a shot of our second runner here, I'm thinking that's a Bel Air runner, yes. And so that would be probably Logan Weaver, who was only seated 5th. Is that Logan Weaver? Wrong run. I'm looking at the wrong heat here, folks.
I believe
Camille Miller. So she was 4th seed, and she's 2nd right now. So she is trying to run away from the Rising Sun runner. And we'll see here. So good shot of our leader, Brielle, running away from the pack. She has a nice stride about her, too, and another yellow neon shoes that show up fairly well.
Brielle's coming right around that last 200 at about 4:55. If she can push it, she can get close to one of her times again. Either way, an amazing race.
Yeah, I don't think she's going to get her best, but we'll see. But the thing is, she's doing this on her own, like you said. So it is kind of hard to get a PR on your own. But let's see here. 5:23 is her seed time. She's going to come in right around it, Travis. Yeah, suffice to say, when she gets the regionals and states, I think she's going to be breaking 5:20 easily.
For sure.
And wow, what a good run here by Camille Miller, it looks like. So she came in with a seed time of 5:49, and looks like she's going to be under that. And then I think we have our Rising Sun runner, Anna Callahan. And here's a good battle for 4th and 5th coming up here, folks. See the right runner trying to hold off to the end. Oh, that's going to be close. And then the last group came in very well. Ellie Hansen passing a runner right at the finish line. Good race by all. Those girls all got, I think that last group was probably near PRs because.
I'm definitely excited to see those results come in.
So now we have our first heat of our boys 1,600 meter run. And we have a large heat here. We have Samuel Jonke from Hartford Tech. We have Isaac Battle from Aberdeen, Roman Chasso from Aberdeen, Andrew Jones from Rising Sun, Nathan Bennett from Edgewood, Michael Pomalis from Aberdeen, Trevor Downs from Cement Wright. We have Theodore Rose from Edgewood, Walker Lightcap from Elkton, Ryan Boyd from Perryville, and Tyler Loss. So let's see how we get this start here, folks. I'm always interested to see how people cut people in. Now you see a curved line there, and they often let the runners step up to that curved line, but don't go over it. So let's see if anybody breaks in really quickly. So you see one runner in purple there just smartly slide into lane 1 on the back. So let's see our tactics here, Travis. We have, looks like an Edgewood runner taking it out here. But our top 4 seeds, again, are less than 3 seconds apart on time.
Should be an exciting race. Looks like someone's making a move right now for that lead.
Yeah, some people like to be in the lead, and some people like to lay on backs. What was your preference?
I always thought winning was overrated. No, I mean, I love a lead, but the approach I took, I like to hang around the upper half and then make some moves later on.
Well, you stressed something important there. So early in your career, you like to pick off as many people as possible. And Donnie would say, well, you don't have to start in 27th out of 28 and then still get first place. You know, it is okay to start 12th out of 28. And I think that range, to your point, is a good range. because you don't want to overexpend your energy in the first lap of a mile, 1600, but you also don't want to, you know, get out of it. And if you get boxed in a second pack and you can't get out of it, and for those of you who don't know, boxed in means you kind of have somebody in front of you to your outside and then behind you, and you really can't get out of that position. Some teams are smart enough to box people in and let their leader get away. We've actually did that. Since I wasn't good enough to be the leader, Travis, I was often told to be the guy that boxes in so-and-so from another team. So our leader here has really taken off, and I'm going to assume that's Samuel, but I could be wrong. No, it should be Samuel because that's the only Hartford Tech runner. Is that Hartford Tech in the lead?
Yeah, that's Samuel.
So we have the Aberdeen runners chasing behind second and third. Seeing if the young man that we coach, Travis, is out there, Michael Pomalis.
Looks like Michael's in third right now.
Yeah, I think it might be him. Let me see. Yes, so Michael Pomalis, so he was their third seeded Aberdeen runner. I'm not seeing one of the Aberdeen runners, but Michael swims for Travis and I, a wonderful young man. Trevor Downs out there, I'm seeing on the right, is also one of Travis's swimmers. Also a great young man.
This is going to be an interesting race, Dad, because we have Samuel going for it. And to your point in the beginning, 1 through 4 are separated by 2.5 seconds. And that gap we see right now is a little bit more than 2.5 seconds. So,
but it looked like it was about twice the distance after the end of the first lap.
Exactly.
So the Aberdeen runners are seeing that they have potential to reel him in. So I always told people the middle half of a race was the race too, because it's easy to start well and finish well psychologically. But right now, one of the Aberdeen runners is chasing him down. And we'll have to see if he's if Samuel is going to have to pay for going out too fast.
And right now we have a shot down that backstretch of that pack too. That's going to come down to who wants it at the end. I also have the final results from the girls 1600, okay. And Brielle Whitworth came in with a 5:24, just on her PR time. Camille Miller from Bel Air did get a PR with a 5:43, and Anna Callahan also got a PR with a 5:47 in third. Looking down the list, actually, to your point, you even mentioned finishers in 5th through, looks like 15th, all got best times.
That's awesome.
So
it definitely brings it out of you. So I think we're in our final lap here, and we may have a race here, Travis. I mean, a lot's going to depend on Samuel's mental strength here. Now, let's see if he waits till his Aberdeen opponent catches him and then just says, okay, I'm going to put a burst on here, or let's see if our Aberdeen runner has the energy to keep going past him.
Definitely. We also look like we're going to have a race for third place, with possibly our other Tech runner coming up behind.
Oh, that Tech runner looks like he has a lot left, but I don't think that is a Tech runner. I think it's somebody else because we only have one. The third runner has a lot of energy left. May have saved a little bit too much, but let's see.
It's coming down to Samuel, Roman, and Andrew in the top 3, it looks like, in this heat.
It looks like Michael Pomalis is going to come in a solid 4th place, considering he was the 6th seed. That's outstanding. Looks like a lot of PRs here, Trav. Wow. Trevor Downs coming in around 5:25, and his seed time was 5:32. So outstanding job here. So as we're finishing up here for the first heat of 2 in the boys 1600-meter run, let me read our names for the second heat, and I'm going to read some seed times here at the beginning to show you how much of a battle we can have. So we have Ryan Cascone from Bel Air, will be our #1 seed with a 4:39. So he looks like a solid contender here to win, but Aiden Demetricus from Seamount Wright, 4:47. I think I coached Aiden when he was really young and swimming along with his sister. Matthew McKay from Rising Sun, good finish here for our last runners here. Matthew has a 4:48, and then John Ferry from Rising Sun has a 4:48. Then we have Logan Weaver from Bel Air with a 4:48. Then we have Benjamin Solisiak from Hartford Tech with a 4:49. And then our 7 through 11 seeds are Kevin Lyons, Bel Air, Darian Walters, Edgewood, Martin Bender from Hartford Tech, Matt Ritz from C. Milton Wright, and Michael Young from Perryville. So Travis, I'm looking at this 6th through 2nd, and they are only off by 2 seconds.
That's incredible.
So I think jostling in the crowd is going to be important. I think drafting, I think passing on turns, all the tactical things we talked about in the 4x8 could be the differences between these places.
Absolutely.
And then Kevin Lyons in 7th. If somebody falters, he can sneak into the top 6.
Absolutely.
So let's see who's taking the lead here. Looks like our top seed, Ryan. And I'd like to see what his strategy is going to be, Travis. Does he like to have the lead the whole way? Does he want to break them since his seed time is 8 seconds faster?
It looks like they're definitely going out in a pretty aggressive pace.
So they're at the 200 mark at 37 seconds. That's a
final call. All 4x200 meter relay athletes should be checked in at this time.
So I want to see their, it's a good head-on shot at our leader here, but his own teammate is settling in on his back. And we've got quite a pack there.
Looks like we had a little bumping into right there.
Yeah, so right now, Aiden needs to settle in somewhere on Seamount, right? Because he's running in lane 2.5. And those extra laps, now he did. It's like he was listening to me, Travis. He moved up to 2nd and got in lane 1.
Like Tony Romo.
And they're not letting the leader go yet. But at some point, you're going to see if Ryan is able to break the pack here a little bit. He definitely wants to push the pace.
We talked about it a lot so far and throughout the meet, but one thing to point out with those packs is the drafting aspect. And is it worth being the lead of the pack, to be the lead of the pack for a part of it?
Right.
And possibly use a little more energy than you need? Or is it actually a better approach to hang in that 2nd, 3rd spot and utilize the people you're racing?
So Aiden, Ryan's doing a good job of not letting Aiden get right on his back and draft off of him. He wants to keep that 3 or 4 meter separation. We have a runner coming on the outside there and trying to settle in. So 1 through 6 is up for grabs, and 7 is right there. So the point scoring is going to be close here on people passing each other. So they're definitely ahead of their normal pace, but let's see if they'll be on that 4:39 pace. Aiden's trying his best to hold on there, Travis.
He definitely is. And for some of our viewers that track and field might not be a sport you're familiar with, breaking 5 minutes in the mile for is a huge accomplishment. That's a big threshold that a lot of runners want to meet in their careers. So to have 7 runners already breaking 5 and a couple of them real close, we might see some happy runners with some great PRs today.
So coming down the backstretch here, Aiden's still trying to stay in contact. So you're going to see one of 2 things here normally, Coach. You're either going to see Aiden try to get up on his back and make a move, but you also might see Ryan try to make a move from the front.
Right.
And that means he just wants to put on some kind of a spurt and get away from them.
Definitely.
Well, we told you that 2 through 6 would be close. So 3 through 6 is very close. But Aiden has separated himself from that pack behind him.
And we talked about the championship meets being something fun where you can race competition that you might not get to all year. So that could be maybe that's the case for a runner like Aiden, who's got a 4:47 in second place with a gap between first, but he finally has that person that he can chase rather than being the rabbit going ahead of the pack.
Yeah, let's see if they can get near best times here. So our leader is Ryan Cascone, and he looks like he's going to hold on to this lead. His seed time coming in was 5:39, and it's going to be right under that. But Aiden is chopping off a good 6-7 seconds off his best time. And suffice to say that whole pack there is getting best times as well.
Wow.
Yeah, I think every one of them got a best time, Trav. And our Edgewood runner is normally at 5. Oh, come on, get under 5. Come on, get under 5. Oh, that's going to be so close.
That was a good race, though. Good job, Darian.
These runners here finishing now are definitely getting PRs also. So, excellent. So that was a really good 1,600-meter run. I was only made to do that a couple times, Travis. I know you did it a lot more than I did. You're a much better distance runner than I was.
1,600 was probably my favorite race. Kind of the happy medium of not feeling like I'm pushing myself too much in the 4 and the 8, but not so long as the 32. So the 16's a fun race to run.
So I was known for doing dumb things in sports, Trav, and one of them was trying out for the track team as a freshman. And we did all the time trials like Donnie used to put you guys through. And I'm strutting a little bit. The freshman girls were out there with the lacrosse team, and I thought, I'm going to show off. I can run. So I decided to take the lead on the mile. And, you know, 1 lap in, this is great. I'm looking good. The girls are looking at me and cheering me on. Well, my coach didn't tell me I was running against a county champion, a senior. And I was wondering why he kept laughing at me until the wall hit me. And for those of you that don't know what the wall is, that's when you ran too fast and your body is telling you, what were you thinking? And I hit that wall and the world started spinning. And then suffice to say, I went from first to like 8th. So I want to tell you a bit of trivia here, Travis. Travis and I fans are, you'll see this later, but we're really looking forward to the draft tonight, and we're big draft fans. Travis, I don't know if you know this, but there is a young man that we were talking about that plays cornerback for Maryland Terps.
Yeah.
And
Deontay Banks.
Yeah, and he goes by Tay Banks. He's from Edgewood High School, folks.
Class of 2019.
And he ran track here for Edgewood. I was talking to the Edgewood coach, Donald Smith, and he was telling me about him. And he was a really good long jumper, and he was a good sprinter as well, not surprisingly, as a cornerback. And he was candidate to win the long jump at States, but he couldn't go because it was the same night as either graduation or prep.
Yeah.
That happens to a lot of people. So what we have here now, folks, is we should be starting the girls 4x200 right now. And in Heat 1, we have Aberdeen in lane 2, Hartford Tech in lane, it's only one heat. So the champion will come out of this. Hartford Tech in lane 2 is our number 1, lane 3 is our number 1 seed. Edgewood's the number 4 seed, 3 seed in lane 4, and then we have Rises on lane 5. So Hartford Tech is always really good at this 4x2. And you saw the start there. There's 2 different types of 4x200 relay, folks. Some people in the old days call it the 800-meter relay. Sometimes all 4 runners stay in their lane, and the stagger is done to where the team in the outside lane gets a large lead because they're running in the outside lane. So running on the curve is harder. Others, you have, after the 3rd exchange, the runners can cut in. So I'm going to see which one this is.
And I just want to say, what a handoff from Hartford Tech on that last transfer.
So I love this relay, Travis. I got to do this a lot, and it's one of my favorites. So you have a runner going out. Now, that was a sprint relay handoff done more in the style of the distance relay. She had palm up. Hartford Tech is clearly in the lead here. Good run for second, third, and fourth.
Edgewood's making a move.
Yeah.
These sprint relays have always been some of my favorite ones to watch. I was
Mhm.
never in them, but I liked watching them. Here we go, last one.
Nice, solid handoff. Another thing I want to teach the fans watching is you have a relay exchange. You have to hand the baton off in your lane in between those two lines on the track, and you have officials over there seeing if they did. Aberdeen's coming on strong here, but I think Hartford Tech will hold it off. So we have Hartford Tech coming in first, followed by Aberdeen, Edgewood, and then coming in fourth place, we have Rising Sun. Handoffs are key, Travis. Team USA men's have long disappointed many of us track fans because they can't get the baton around the track without dropping it. We could have the first, third, and fifth fastest men in the world, and we don't win the relay. My teams, I used to make my boys and my girls practice the handoffs over and over and over again, because that could be the difference. That race wasn't as close, 1, 2, 3, 4, but you will see 4x1s come down to body leans. So let's see how our boys 4x200 is laid out. We have 2 heats. In heat 1, we have Rising Sun in lane 2, Seamount Wright in lane 3, and Perryville in lane 4. Now I'm going to give you an example here, Travis. Seamount Wright's seed time is 1:34.59. The fast heat, the seed times are 1:32, 1:33, 1:33. So if Seamount Wright can win this heat, or Perryville with his 1:35, and drop a second or two, they can get in the top 2 or 3.
And it's going to come down to those handoffs you said. I don't think I think the coaches out here are holding their breath the whole time until the fourth runner has their the baton in their hand.
Without a doubt. I was lucky enough to be on a state championship 4x200 relay indoor for Joplin High School, but 2 months earlier, I dropped the baton in a large invitational, and as I watched the baton bounce across the floor, 3 other teams passed me, and we did not even get to finish. So luckily, Coach Bishop gave me a do-over. So you have a good start here from our outside lane, but let's see these exchanges. Good clean there. Hold up, Seamount Wright runner. Hold up, and that is what we're talking about. So the Seamount Wright runner looked like they ran away from their exchange there a little bit, Trav. So we'll have to see if they have the white flag up, so it's legal. So he got away with it.
Perryville's going for it.
Perryville is out there.
And this might run into a situation that you were talking about where they could squeak in heat 2. We'll have to watch the clock for that one.
So Seamount Wright is inside lane here, so they do get the gain a little bit on the turns, but that's a lot to make up. We'll have to see if the Seamount Wright runner can close this down a little bit more to give his anchor a chance. Now we have another exchange here. That was a good exchange that time by Seamount Wright. So this could be a good race here. Let's see what happens. Seamount Wright
closing,
making up the stagger there a little bit. Now we have the straightaway here. Seeing if this Seamount Wright runner, yes, he's passing on the inside.
Wow.
I think that was our 100 dasher that I was talking about before.
And it looks like they came across at about 133, 134.
Wow, this is going to be close. Now, to show you what I'm talking about, there was an exchange on both of those 2 teams, Travis, that was a little bit slower than the coach would want because the runner moving out was moving away a little bit sooner. You want to, folks, you want to be leaving the same speed that the person's coming in. So if they're coming in at 18 miles per hour, you want to be leaving at 17 miles per hour. If you leave much quicker than them, even though it's only a 200, they're tiring as they're coming in. So you can't pull away from them. You want to get that baton in your hand, but at the same point, if they're coming in at 17 miles per hour, you can't be leaving at 7 miles per hour.
Exactly.
Because then they're going to run you over. So now we have our fast heat here, folks, and let's see if they are able to beat the Seamount Wright time. So we have Aberdeen in lane 2, Edgewood in 3, Bel Air in 4, and Hartford Tech in 5. and the difference from first to fourth is 1.3 seconds. That's one handoff.
That's crazy. Track and field's so much fun.
So the thing I like about it, Trav, and obviously I'm a huge fan and so are you, Mom, she put up with long track meets. She wasn't as much of a fan as me. And a lot of people are like that, and they don't get this is all athleticism. You've got speed, you've got endurance, you've got power in the shot put and discus, you've got agility and power in the high jump. You didn't get much of a chance, I don't think, of trying any of the field events, but that's a big fun part of my coaching and participating experience.
We always commended the jumpers, man. Those were, that's a tough skill to get into and really improve in.
So when we get the results, folks, for some of the field events, we will tell you. As Travis knows, I coached for a long time, and I started a track club years ago. I coached the Johnstown Track Club, and then I coached the Harford County Gliders, who turned into the Hartford Track Club. It still exists. And I coached at Johnstown High School, Bel Air High School boys, and John Carroll girls. And I love taking people that were athletic and teaching them field events. And people think that it's all strength and power, but it's so much technique in the field events. I just saw a young lady go over the pole vault very nicely, and she's hugging her coach and so excited. So great start here for this race. As we said in the 4x800, Trav, some teams' first runner is way faster than everybody else's, but then the other team has a faster third runner.
Exactly.
So it's about depth. So Aberdeen passed, looked like Bel Air looked like they passed the Hartford Tech runner. Let's see if we have any comebacks here.
The Tech runners
Hartford
closing
Tech.
down.
Hartford Tech, but the Hartford Tech is on the outside lane, so Edgewood has the clear advantage right here with the inside lane to these two teams. So,
And that was a smooth handoff. You could even see the Edgewood runner coming in, celebrate.
yeah.
That could be the difference.
So Aberdeen is back in fourth place, but they have the inside lane, and they're coming on strong. So let's see here if we get Edgewood leading. And remember, folks, people were running on curves. So white flag up. Everybody has legal handoffs now, so it's just coming down to who's got the faster legs here. Edgewood's got the lead here. And I'm going to say these people are going to all beat Seamount Wright because they're going to run personal best times too. I'm going to say Seamount Wright's going to come up to fourth place. Wow, what a great finish there for Edgewood.
I think it was that third handoff. That's huge.
So it didn't just have a quick handoff, but like one baton hand to the other with a baton. But your point was the runner was able to come out full speed.
Yep.
And that's what the difference is. You don't want stutter stepping, folks. So that's the end of the boys 4x200. You have any results, Trav?
Yeah, I have the boys 1600 meter results. Ryan Cascone from Bel Air took the championship with a 4:37.72. Aiden Dimitrakis from Sea Mountain got a PR with a 4:40.66 in second place. And Matthew McKay from Rising Sun in third place with a 4:43.6.
Awesome. Did we already do the girls 1600 results?
Yes.
Okay. So, folks, we're coming up to another tough race that I talk about. So, this is the 400-meter dash for the girls. One lap around the track. This is considered a sprint for the top people, and this is considered a 90% speed for people that don't quite have the same endurance. This event hurts a little bit too, Travis, and Travis was lucky enough to be put in the 4x400 relay for his team multiple times.
So earlier when I said the 1600 was one of my favorite races, I actually got to say it is the 4, which is funny because most people, it's their least favorite. It's that perfectly difficult distance where if you're a sprinter, it feels like you're running forever, and if you're a distance runner, we just don't have the natural speed.
Yes.
And I'll admit that myself. I'm nearly as quick as some of my sprinters.
So in this first heat, Trav, we have Anna Boyce from Sea Wright in lane 2. We have Shaylin Disler from Harryville in lane 3. We have Mackenzie Pavlitza in lane 4 from Sea Wright and Brooke Liddick. And looks like our Perryville runner here is going to pull this out. Mackenzie Pavlitza is somebody that we are very fond of their family. I coached her older sister, Megan, in soccer when she was a little girl, and her brother ran with track with you, right, Trav?
Yeah, I got really close with her older brother, Ryan, through
you were almost, you did that 4x4 together a couple of times. I remember that.
That's my favorite race ever. Shout out James Welsh, Justin Brownell, Ryan Pavlitza.
So in our second here we have Brooklyn Richmond from Elkton in lane 1, Cheyenne Sutton from Elkton in lane 2, Jasmine Udoson from Aberdeen lane 3, Aubrey Sims, Female Wright lane 4, Jalen Bell, Elkton lane 5, and Madeline Lombardi, Rising Sun lane 6. So some people will go 85, 90% speed the first 300, and they like to kick it in. And you could do that in some races based on your competition. Now, I want to say lucky enough and unlucky enough to do this event a lot. Even though I had sprint speed, my coach really loved putting us in the 4x4 and the 4x8 or the open 4 and 8. And I bounced between the B team mostly on our 4x4 and 4x8 and the A team. I will preface that with to say that we held the county record for like 25, 30 years in the 4x4 and the 4x8. So it was an honor to ever be on that team. I ran, Trav, with 3 guys that could go under 50 seconds in the 400.
That's unbelievable.
I thought I was good at 51, but then I had 5 teammates that could run faster. So we have a good job here by our Aberdeen runner, Jasmine, coming in here. I have around 110. She's right near her seed time. Good job. So our third heat of 4 will be walking on the track here now, folks. And we have Aliyah Webb from Edgewood in lane 1, Trinity Green from Edgewood in lane 2, Allison Mace in lane 3 from Bel Air, Destiny Boyd from Hartford Tech in 4, Lily Anuzado from Edgewood in lane 5, and Zoe Bowens from Aberdeen in lane 6. I think Zoe might have been a basketball player, as I called earlier this year. I'm going to say later on, folks, that these runners are crucial because the last race of the meet is the 4x400. And a lot of times the meet comes down to that. See what kind of start we get here. You see most people standing up and start, and you have one runner in lane 4, Destiny Boyd doing the, she started in the blocks position, but she stood up.
Another thing about Destiny Boyd, and you were just mentioning about another athlete, we're getting to the point in the meet where we're seeing names come back and repeat.
Right.
So they're already in their second, maybe even third events at this point in the race. Shows some of that endurance that they have to do and that transition from race to race.
So you got your outside lane there, taking it out pretty good, both outside lanes. You only have one curve left here for the 2 Edgewood runners on the inside to see if they can close in at all. But again, our number 1 seed is in lane 3, and our number 2 seed is in lane 4, and then it goes back to 2. They want to give the top seeds not the inside lane travel in these because running on the curve tighter makes it harder. So you got Destiny holding on here. Good run, good run.
It's a PR.
Yeah. So as I was explaining there, people don't know this. Even in the 4x200 relay, you saw that the faster seeds weren't in lane 1 and 2 because running full speed on a tighter turn is harder, and your momentum makes it harder to do that. Now, like I said, when I was in high school and indoor track, I was smaller with short legs. So because of that, I could run the turns a little bit better. So if a coach had to decide who's going to run a turn and who's going to run a straightaway in something like the 4x1, you're going to often see your taller, longer-legged people running the straightaway and your shorter-legged people running the turn a little technical thing there that the smart coaches know how to do.
Yeah, utilizing that stride versus the ability to bring your legs across.
So fastest heat here coming up, Trav. We have Emily Weber from Aberdeen in lane 1, Amanda Callahan from Rising Sun in lane 2, Madison Bob is our #1 seed in lane 3 with a 59 flat. Gianna Dawson from Bel Air is our #2 seed with a 59.42. And then we have Kiera Lowe from Bel Air in lane 5 and Bella Chavis. So from Rising Sun in lane 6. So this looks like a 2-person race for the championship. So let's see if it comes out that way. But Amanda Callahan from Rising Sun could be a player in this.
I don't know if I see. Is Gianna out there?
So let's see which lane is empty. Yeah, you might be right. She might not be out there.
But it does look like Madison Bob is going for it off the start.
So from some of you may remember, Madison's older sister was a star at Hartford Tech as well, and both of her parents were outstanding athletes. Yeah, this looks like a 1-person race for first, but let's see what happens here for second place. Looks like Rising Sun, Amanda Callahan, lane 2 there is in second. So Madison's PR for coming in this is 59. So let's see if she can break that. It doesn't look like
right
she
at it.
quite did, yeah, but
Good close finish for third right there.
yeah, outstanding. I think Amanda Callahan from Rising Sun is going to be right near her PR there. So that was a really good race there by the girls. And now we're coming to our boys 400-meter dash. And we have 4 heats of that. And we are currently ahead of schedule here, folks.
I also have the boys 4x200 results. Edgewood did get first place over Aberdeen in second place, only separating by 0.5 of a second. Bel Air came in third with a 133.69, and Simone Wright was fourth place with a 134.09. So that first heat did end up being a close finish. I'll try to get the girls' 400 results as soon as they come in.
So first heat here of the boys 400-meter dash. We have Naeem Nuruddin from C. Milton Wright, lane 1. We have Rowan Gatch, Ferryville, lane 2. Evan Skinner, C. Milton Wright, lane 3. Landon Cook, Rising Sun, lane 4. And Anthony Kopp, C. Milton Wright, lane 5. So all 3 C. Milton Wright entries are in this race here. Sometimes racing your own teammates, Travis, could be good or bad. It's like challenging your own brother if you have one. It's like, I've got to beat my sibling, you know. I had a couple of teammates who we really wanted to outrun each other, and others we would almost laugh while we were racing each other.
Yep. If I was running with Owen, I couldn't take it seriously.
So we have 3 runners here seeming to separate themselves from the others. We got inside lane here. Naeem coming on strong. Holding good form too, Trav.
That's impressive. And it looks like Naeem doesn't have a time coming into this. So if this is his first time, this is a good one.
So he just did a great race with a 55, and that's faster than the second and third heat seeds. Now, he just did one thing that Coach Donnie will get him on if he saw it. He looked over his shoulder to see where his competition was. And coaches are going to be like, no, you don't look. You run to that line.
And it might have to do with his teammates like we were talking. He's probably seeing where's Evan, where's Anthony at right now.
So our second heat, we have Gavin Stoll from Edgewood in lane 1, Eli Mackey, Rising Sun, lane 2, Shamar Reed, lane 3, Edgewood, Angel Ruiz Rivera, Aberdeen, lane 4, Cameron Howell, lane 5, Elkton, and Nathaniel Good from Rising Sun. So, you know, the times are really getting group tight here. You've really got within a second and a half of each other from top seed all the way down here. Our first 2 seeds, Shamar Reed and Angel Ruiz Rivera, are literally 1/10 apart on seed time here, Trav. So you also see most 400 dashers stand up. But you will occasionally see when you get to the more advanced runners, some people actually do a sprint start out of the blocks for the 400. That was my teammates that were running 48s, 49s.
Looks like our Edgewood runner, Shamar Reed, is going for it in his first 200, trying to bridge that gap of those close times we're talking about.
Well, like you said, you have different styles in this, different races. You have people that like to take it out and press the pace and see what they have left. Well, he's really going for it, so he's either going to be smashing his PR or people are going to chase. Nope, nobody's chasing him down today. He's hitting a little bit of a wall here, but he's fighting. He is fighting hard, folks. Wow.
That's incredible.
He just knocked 2 seconds off of his best time right there.
Good race, Shamar.
Good stuff.
That's what I love about the 400, is especially from a distance runner. If you go, you can go for it, and sometimes it'll turn out. And when you mentioned that that relay, that was my favorite race for 2 reasons. One, I got to race with my friends, and we'll talk about this again when we get to the relays, but sometimes the anchor runs scared. And if you have the lead when you get that last baton, all you're thinking is, don't ruin it, don't ruin it, don't ruin it.
That's right.
And I ran my best time that day, and I think we'll see that a lot today, not just in the relays, but because it's a championship meet.
People get PRs a lot in relays because they're trying to run for their teammates. So I got Hunter Kiefer here from Hartford Tech in lane 1, Brennan Appleby Herwig from Hartford Tech in lane 2, Benjamin Cho, Bel Air lane 3, Brady Martin, Perryville lane 4, Alan Tate, Elkton lane 5, and DeMonte Brooks, Elkton lane 6. So we have a disparity here to where our lead here is Benjamin Cho Bel Air, and he has a 54.01. So he needs to kind of try to run away from people, but right now he's pacing himself.
Looks like the curve's helping him out a little bit on this backstretch, though.
I think we're missing one runner maybe from this race.
Yeah, lane 2, Brennan from Hartford
Well, let's
Tech.
see if he has a kick, because these people are pushing him. And there goes his kick. But, wow, Perryville runner is running with him. Brady and looks like Benjamin just got him at the line.
That was a good start for our 2 Elkton runners on the outside, Alan and DeMonte. They went out for it in the beginning, and it looks like that might have pushed them to a best time.
So we're coming to our fastest heat here of the 400-meter dash, and we have Frank Barnett in Edgewood in lane 1, Alexander Walkenfuss from Hartford Tech lane 2, Jack Hines from Bel Air in lane 3, Daniel Wilson, Aberdeen lane 4. We have Charles Hammond, Bel Air lane 5, and Holden Cross, Aberdeen lane 6. And our lead contender here, Jack Hines, is our only one with a seed time under 50. He has a 49.54.
Alexander, if you have any connection to the chocolate store, I love your chocolate-covered strawberries.
Now I want to go to Walkenfuss and get some chocolates after we leave, Travis.
Sounds like a plan.
So, is that the kind of example we could tell Mom we went to get her chocolate-covered strawberries, but then we come back with 3 pounds of chocolate for us too?
I'm in.
I think it works. So, a friend of mine, Charles Johnson, was a star running back for Johnstown High School and played in college and did really well. He's my biggest regret for not running my senior year when I was dealing with some knee problems and went out for lacrosse instead, because he ended up setting our county record.
Wow.
In 47-something for years. And I think the record was only recently broken.
This is a tight race we have. Tight race we have right here, Dad.
So I think we're missing at least 1 or 2 runners. So I've only seen 4 runners here, but our Bel Air runner lead is pulling away here, but that was a good challenge for a long time there.
Absolutely.
Wow, right around his time. Excellent job.
And Alexander Walkenfuss from Hartford Tech and Frank Barnett from Edgewood definitely got PRs right there in lane 1 and lane 2.
So I'm going to say our 3,200-meter runners here, Travis, and then we're going to get some updates on any results we have, including field events. but they might not be done yet. So this is the 3,200 meter run. There's only one heat, folks, so this is the final. And we have 15 runners entered. We have Ella Swain from Sea Mountain Wright with a 12:06 top seed time. We have Isabel DeVos from Hartford Tech, 12:26. We have Ashley Heinball from Sea Mountain Wright with a 12:40. Her teammate Johanna Tenaglia with a 12:40. And we have another girl from Edgewood, Abigail Bond, with a 12:40. Then we have 6 seed Camille Miller. Then we have Marley Seaborn, Savannah from Hartford Tech. We have Savannah Lacey, Rising Sun. Caroline Bates, Hartford Tech. Isabel Lacerna from Bel Air. We have Caitlin Perry from Rising Sun. Abby Sparrow from Rising Sun. Faith Smeltzer from Edgewood. Elizabeth Collins, Edgewood. And then Ava Tisler from Bel Air. So here we go for this start here, folks.
We also just saw a shot of the starter talking to the girls right before they raced. A lot of the times they will mention that don't cut in right away. And I know we've talked about how sometimes that is a strategy, but especially in the distance races like a 3,200, the last thing that we need is injury. And so a lot of the time that starter will give a little bit of a tip of, all right, run in your lane for the first part of the curve and then slowly break in.
So we have talked about strategy. We've talked about mental toughness. The pain that people feel in running events, you have to out-psych your body. You have to tell yourself you could do this. And then, like, for example, Ella is our #1 seed, but it looks like she's in second place right now. And then you have somebody else here, Trav, trying to take the race out. So let me see if this is the Hartford Tech girl. Looks like Isabella DeVos. So you're talking about the psychological side. You're literally 20 seconds off on seat time. But you said this earlier. Has Elizabeth been pushed? For Ella, she has 2 strong teammates who have helped her, at least push her some. So how long will Ella Swain watch Isabella take a 5-meter lead and decide she can't do this? Or does she say, I'll give her a lap or 2, and then she'll look for a sign, some kind of physical sign, and sometimes people show it in their body language when they're running, or they go from one speed to another, and then they go after them.
A lot of that, too, will come down coaching. If you see right on that last curve, Ella's running past Coach Donnie Mickey, and these other 2 Sea Mountain runners that we're showing right now are about to pass Coach Mickey. That's when you hear those little tips. Maybe set in, find your pace, or go catch that girl in front of you. So that coaching mid-race is a big thing. We talked about that with Coach Jerry earlier. And that definitely will help those runners find their strategy when different wild cards like that happen, when somebody you don't expect to be there is there.
Well, and I'm going to give some mad respect to this distance because you've done it many times. I didn't do it very often in high school, but I ran some 5Ks as an adult. When I was coaching my own kids in running, they'd be like, Coach, if we're going to run the 5K, why don't you run the 5K? So I did, and one day I was running a race, and I trained with some really top athletes of mine, and we ran it's called the Charles Street Chase. And 2 of the high school boys on my team, they were 1st and 3rd in the county and cross country. I actually broke my own rule and went out faster than I was probably capable of. And about the 2-mile point, one of my runners called up to me, Travis, and said, Coach, what are you doing up here? And I said, I don't know. And he said, am I allowed to beat you? And I said, go ahead. And he beat me, and he finished in the top 10 amongst like many, many runners. But anyhow, in this race, folks, my point being this. Our first seeds are seeded in 12-something. Our last seeds are seeded in 16-something. For those of you who have never ran 2 miles, that's 2 8-minute miles. You know how many people in this world can't even do 1 8-minute mile?
Right.
So
I can't do that anymore.
Mad respect to these people. Now, because the first couple seeds are 4 minutes faster seeds, you will see people lapping each other at a certain point in this race. And the courtesy is supposed to be, if it's close and 2 runners are coming through, and you can see them coming, they prefer you to move out to lane 2 or 3 and let the lead runners pass to the inside. But sometimes, especially if it's a straightaway, they'll just pass them on the outside.
Definitely. Another runner to give a shout out to right now, as we see her coming around the curve, is our Bel Air runner, Camille Miller. Camille's seated as our 6th runner with a 13:35. There we go. We got a good shot of her right now with the number 6. And she's running next to, it looks like, Abigail Bond with a 12:40. So sometimes you got to find that person to stick with, and can help carry you to a good time.
So it looks like the C. Milton Wright 2 girls coming through the screen right now are 5th and 6th. So when you're looking at team scores, that's big. C. Milton Wright has a chance to get 3 girls in the top 6 and score a lot of points here. Now, folks, Travis, you know this. Different teams have different styles. Some schools are known for their sprint skills. Some schools are distance skills. Some people have it all. And when I coached, I tried to make sure that I've been at schools where they were like, well, we're a sprint team. I'm like, well, we need some distance runners. And we got some people good at distance runners. And the field events, which we're not able to see a lot of, that's 6 of the 18 events. 1/3 of the events are field events. So for the teams and the coaches that ignore field events, they're kind of missing out because that's how you can win championships. And I'm going to throw some kudos to Hartford Tech for that.
Absolutely.
Hartford Tech focuses on everything, and you'll notice that they have good distance relays, they have good sprinters, they have good hurdlers, and they're very good in the field events.
For sure. It's a big part of the meet, especially with scoring.
Now, I will tell you some information I found out before the meet here, Travis. I was able to talk to a lot of coaches and have some good input. So the Aberdeen coach, Josh Rupert and Kyle Brown, they were saying that Daniel Wilson is a real contender in the 400 and the 800, and that the Aberdeen boys 4x400 relay placed 2nd in states last year.
Wow.
So they're really good, and Daniel Wilson placed 2nd in the 800.
That's huge.
So I'm going to do some shout-outs here. Donnie Mickey's been coaching for 31 years, Trev, and obviously I know this because Donnie and I used to be friends and rivals because I coached against them, and we both had great distance runners, and I was one of the only coaches that was able to train people to keep up with his runners, whether he was at C. Milton Wright or Bel Air. He has a long history. Devin Moore is the other head coach. Loving to see that Al Baker is back at C. Milton Wright. He put in a lot of years there in other schools with that. Julian Pickett and Sharon Pickett are the Bel Air coaches. And then Edgewood, Donald Smith, and Jerry Henderson. It's Jerry's 16th year, so he's not near Donnie, but he's been one of the longer tenured coaches. Hartford Tech, Joanne Burrell and Daryl Diamond are the head coaches. Rising Sun, Jill McKay. And Perryville, we have Trayvon Morgan and Rayson Moore. Elkton, we have Ben Brown and Lorraine Bell. I just love seeing that some of these are former runners who are now involved with coaching. So Jamia McCluskey from Aberdeen is an assistant coach, Trev. She was state champion herself.
Wow.
So see if our leaders are close to each other here. So who's our leader on this right now, Trav?
Looks like Isabel Devos is still up front, bridging that gap a little bit. And she's going for it. She's going for a good time.
So I think that we are in our 5th lap of maybe our 6th lap. Could be our 6th lap here. So she is running the psychological race we talked about. So seeing how far she is on pace.
Yeah, I mean, when you go for it, you go for it. And if she's going for her best time, this could turn out to be one of her best races. We also do have some updates from our results from earlier in the meet. The girls 400 meter went to Madison Bob, breaking a minute with a 59.52. Amanda Callahan with a 1:02. And Kira Lowe from Bel Air with a 1:04.2. Great race, girls. Congratulations to our top finishers.
So you're talking about milestones. Breaking a minute for girls is a milestone.
Absolutely. That's that's something to be proud of, Madison. For our boys 400 meter, we have Jack Hines from Bel Air getting a 50.18. Alexander Walkenfuss with a PR of 51.26 coming in second place. And Frank Barnett from Edgewood getting a PR with 51.48 coming in third. If we want to take a look at some of our field events, we have our girls discus that finished up with Caroline Mercer from Rising Sun getting 112.07. Sophia Amaretti getting a 92.04, also from Rising Sun. And from Hartford Tech, London Youngblood getting 89.07, which is a PR.
The Rising Sun coach told me that that was one of their strengths.
Looks like we have the boys shot put results as well. Sydney Phillips getting a PR of 46.04. Jaden Nichols getting a PR of 45.05 from Elkton. And Alexander Viscotti getting 44.05 from Bel Air.
So people wonder, like, who invented these events and what are they for? So, again, track and field is a test of speed, stamina, strength. So how do we show strength? We can't have them doing weightlifting. So let's throw a big, heavy metal ball.
I want to talk to whoever created the javelin.
So people don't know this. Other states, there are other throwing events. So in Maryland, most high schools have shot put and discus. There is a hammer throw where it's this heavy ball on the end of a cord and you have like a handle and you have to spin and release it. You have the javelin. And I actually, when I coached Thori Staples, now Thori Bryan, and trained her for nationals for the heptathlon, which she won the national championship 2 times, we took a javelin that I borrowed from Mr. McDonald, the track and field coach at Towson University. He lent me a javelin. Thori and I went out in the middle of a soccer field in the summer and we practiced this. I cannot tell you how many people stopped by and looked at us like, what are these 2 people doing throwing this thing across the field? It's definitely a tough skill. So I think we have our bell lap here. Or we have one more maybe? This is it, okay. So this is our leader coming in here. She is going to blow away her time.
This is incredible. You can see that big smile as she's coming down the stretch too. She knows it.
I have her coming through in about 11:50, and her seed time was 12:26. She dropped 36 seconds.
Breaking 12 minutes in the 32 is definitely another milestone that you want to hit.
So this was like an optical illusion, folks. Ella Swain did a fine job. She's coming through right now in second place. Notice she has a sleeve on her left leg. She is not far off of her seed time, and she gets second place. Our third runner looking like it's going to be coming through here is maybe Abigail Bond.
Abigail just dropped about 20 seconds herself.
Wow.
And then is this Camille Miller about to finish up from Bel Air? Looks like we got a shot of a few of our other runners, a couple Bel Air and Sea Mountain runners finishing.
It's a good run. We're getting a lot of best times here. I think Sea Mountain Wright's coming through for either 5th, 6th, or 6th, 7th. Now the girls, a lot of them are going down to the ground here when they finish, and you'll see coaches and teammates try to come over and pick them up and get them walking. It's hard to do. You've been there.
Definitely.
That's part of a teammate's job, is if they're available and out there, is to go out and pick up their teammates and try to keep them walking.
Another person that deserves a shout out here is our athletic trainers.
Oh my gosh,
you definitely
yes.
see our athletic trainers hanging around by the finish line, seeing if we can tend to any injuries, just getting people water, making sure everybody's staying safe out there. So thank you. I think our partners are ATI Physical Therapy. So thank you to all of our athletic trainers out there.
I think it's great how almost every school has a full-time trainer now at their school for athletic events after school. And Travis, I'm not just showing my age because I know so many parents and athletes from all my years of coaching and teaching, but I know way too many athletic trainers, so I think that's a bad sign. It shows you how many times I've been hurt, and
Yeah.
how many years I've spent at physical therapy. They come up to me and they know me by name, and I do these games. They let me in the gates. They help me in places. I'm like, which place did you work on me at? So we have a good shot of one of our runners on the backstretch here. And again, these runners finishing these times, they're still getting best times. They're still running good paces. I don't even like to walk 2 miles anymore, Trav, let alone run 2 miles. Now, you don't have an
Couldn't catch me
excuse for
doing
that. You're young. You should be running. I'm too old to do this now. Good stride here from runners coming in here.
Yeah, finishing those last couple laps and maintaining your form is a lot more challenging than it might seem. And I mean, finishing in general is more tough than it might seem. Mentally, physically, got to put it all together.
It's also a learning experience to running these distance races. If you haven't done it all year, you have to learn, what am I capable of? You know, what pace can I hold? That's why you said the one girl latching on to the other girl and using her pacing to pull her along to a PR of over a minute.
Yep.
Now, I know Donnie has told you this before, and I have too. And I've looked at programs, and I've seen your time, and so has Donnie. And Jerry tells his runners the same, and all these distance coaches. And they look at another runner, and they say, run with that kid. Because they know if you run with that kid, that person always runs a certain pace. You're going to be pulled to a best time. So that is definitely a coaching strategy. So we have a runner or two left on the track here, I think, folks. So when as they finish, I'm going to say the boys' names, because we have a large lift of 17 runners here. For the boys 3,200 meter run, which is next, we have Garrett Savoy from Bel Air as our #1 seed with a 9:54, Trav. Very impressive.
Wow.
John Ferry from Rising Sun will be seated second with a 10:40. Luke Bahala, third seed at a 10:45. Jaden Parrish from Bel Air, seated fourth, 11:08. Evan Oderwardle, 11:15 for Edgewood. Alan Tayo, Hartford Tech, running at sixth seed with an 11:34. I'm bringing up swimming because 2 or 3 of these kids I know from other sports. Kevin Roeder from Hartford Tech is seated 7th, 11:40. The other runners are Avery Lundstrom from Bel Air, Ethan Ryan from Aberdeen, Jordan Perrine from Rising Sun, Brendan Malloy from Sea Mountain Wright, Caleb Quinn from Hartford Tech. We have Jackson Doherty from Sea Mountain Wright. We have Anthony McGonigal from Rising Sun, Jack Reed from Edgewood. We have Miles Erickson from Edgewood, and we have Michael Young from Perryville. No multiple runners here, Trav. We're talking about different sports. Luke Bahala is one of your favorite swimmers from Sea Mountain Wright. Not surprising. He's doing the 2 mile and the 800. And what's he swim really well for you in high school? The 500.
The longest event.
Yeah. So shout out to Evan Oderwardle, friends with his mom, and she's is a teacher, and she helped get my daughter Jamie her first teaching job. So Alan Teo from Hartford Tech, friends with his mother. Alan and his brother Bradley have swam for years and swam for my daughter, and they also took swimming classes from me for many years. Some great families here.
I also know Brendan Malloy from Sea Mountain. I think I graduated with Brendan's older sister, Paige. And Brendan, I believe, he was featured in the Sea Mountain Wright Variety Show playing the saxophone.
Oh, wow. Man, these young people are they starting to seem young for you now, Travis? You're only 22, but
Don't say that.
You know, looking at some of these freshmen, don't they look like they should be in middle school? And as you get older, you start to feel that way. But you know, good students, good athletes, and musician. That's impressive. I didn't have the grades that you and your sister and some of these student athletes had because I didn't have the dedication to study like you guys did. So we're going to see a different breakout here, Trev. You're going to see packs. It's going to be interesting to see if Garrett takes the lead. And it's going to be interesting to see if we have John Ferry and Luke Bahala settle in with him or settle into their own pace. Does that look like that's Luke out there in the lead?
Luke is Luke's
No,
on the
he's
inside.
on the inside there. I'm seeing who that was.
One thing you might have noticed about that start is there were 2 packs right from the beginning.
Yes.
They'll when there's enough runners that it fills that whole curved line, they'll scoot up the next grouping, put them on the outside couple lanes, but a few yards ahead to balance out that distance.
So good point, Travis. And to explain it to the people, if they do 2 packs, if one of them starts up further, that means they can't cut in to lane 1 until they're off the turn. So you have different strategies with starters, and their reasoning is safety. You know, they do not want people to trip over each other.
Now I'm looking at Garrett Savoy was the lead runner from Bel Air. I believe, again, that was one of the Bel Air runners that we saw in the 4x8 in the beginning of the meet.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a really impressive showing that these athletes are that valuable to their coaches.
So that's a good double that coaches are okay with. Doing the mile and the 2 mile, the 1,600 and the 3,200 the same day, some coaches don't like that for safety. But doing the 4x8, if they have quickness and endurance, that's a good warm-up for the 3,200 later. And you've done that before, and you've done the go run the 4x8. Okay, go cool down from the 4x8. Now rest briefly. Now go warm up for the 3,200.
Definitely. Another thing to mention about Garrett, he's coming in with a 4:54, a 9:54. And earlier in the meet, we said a big threshold was a 5-minute mile. So that's showing that Garrett can run back-to-back sub 5-minute miles, which is just something that's so impressive, and should be really proud to see him on the track today.
So we've got one Rising Sun runner, looks like John Ferry, that's going to challenge him a little bit. And then we have 2 runners fighting for second and third here. Looks like we have Jaden Parrish going out on Luke Bahala, so it'll be interesting to see what Luke does with this. Do we have any other results, Travis, of girls' races or field events?
Yeah, we have the girls 3,200 meter. Isabel Devos from Harvard Tech with that huge PR, breaking 12 minutes, getting an 11:50. Ella Swain coming in second place with a 12:13. And Abigail Bond with another big PR of 12:21. So that was just a great race we just witnessed. And I'm thinking we might see the same thing for our boys 32. A lot of opportunity to improve.
Yeah, I'm curious to see how long the Rising Sun runner, John, can stay with Garrett, because their time differences are almost a minute. But, you know, the psychological part. You know, we just saw a number 3 seed win the last race for the girls. And, you know, different people peak at different times, too. So when you coach, you don't want to peak for the Chesapeake Championship. Folks that don't know, we still have the UCBACs coming up, which is all 15 Hartford and Cecil County teams. Good shot on the backstretch here of our
That's
5, 6,
Alan
7
Tayo,
runs.
Evan Odewardle coming down that stretch.
Kind of funny, these kids grew up doing summer swim with each other. Now they're competing against each other in 2 different high schools.
Frenemies.
So you want to peak for states if you're able to do it. Now we talked about states before, Trav. One of the only problems that we have with track and field is sometimes states is on the same day as graduation or the prom.
Yep.
And then runners
Gotta
have to
decide.
make a decision.
We were lucky enough at Sea Mountain that, especially during my time with Principal Thatcher, that they would allow the athletes to be one of the first people that their name was called. So they'd get their name, hear their name, get their diploma, and they were on their way to the track meet.
So we do have our leader here. Garrett seems like he's trying to break the distance here, and he's going to push the pace. So he's coming through. We talked about that 5-minute mile, Travis. Here he comes. He doesn't it make you mad, Travis? He's coming through about your PR almost.
Don't remind me.
Hey, it's impressive, and you should be proud that you did a sub 5-minute mile. And I think you got down there, 450.
4:54.
Yeah, that's still great. I mean, but For those of you that don't have mad respect for these distance runners, it's kind of like the marathon. You watch the Boston Marathon, and these leaders are averaging a 5-minute mile.
Yep.
I mean, are they human?
Right.
You know?
And right now we're looking at all the times coming in, and they're definitely on a good pace to break
Yes.
some big times.
Yes.
Now the 32, it's a long race. You got 4 more laps left. Whether or not we hold on to it, that's one thing. But I love to see that they're all giving themselves a chance.
Yeah. So we have a first place lead here by Garrett that looks like it's grown to about 30 meters, maybe 40. And then there's a big gap between John Ferry and the 3-4. But we've got a really good battle going here between Jaden Parrish and Luke Bahala. So, and then 5th place seems like it's pretty sure. And then 6th looks like it's Evan Odewardle. So the top 6 is starting to spread out a little bit here.
And you got to give a lot of respect to John Ferry right now. Taking the approach like you've been talking about of sticking with that person that's looks like about 55 seconds ahead. That's tough.
Good shot at Evan coming around the corner there. So now we have our 3rd, 4th crossing the line here. I don't know. I wouldn't count Alan Tayo out yet, Trav. I
For
mean,
sure.
He's looking at the 3-4 ahead of him, and he's thinking maybe I can get it.
And I mean, the shot we see right now of Garrett coming down the backstretch, think about how fast the camera's moving to keep
Yes.
up with him.
Yes.
And this is a 3,200.
Yes.
I mean, that's just amazing. He's running 8 laps, and he's going that quick.
Yeah, pretty soon he's going to start lapping people, and we talked about that in the girls 3,200. And that does not mean these other runners are not good. They're good. He's great. And you know what? We talked about motivation before. But I used to tell you this. If you were lucky enough to be in a big meet like this, and you were half dozen times or so, I told you, if you start, coming out the people that you can lap, you have to play a game in your mind where you're like, I got to catch that person.
Right.
Even though you're 300 yards ahead of them, let's catch that other 100 yards and lap them.
It's a goal. It's goal setting mid-race and giving yourself something to aim for.
And that's what Garrett's doing right now. He's going to pick off probably half the field in this race. That's how amazing he's running right now.
Wow. Go for it.
So one of the kids that he lapped said, no, you're not lapping me, and he caught back up to him, but that will only hold so long. So got a good shot of Allen there on the backstretch, starting on this turn. He's going to try with 2 laps to go to catch 3-4. Got a good shot of our runners coming by here.
And I'm not sure how clear it is, but on that scoreboard, it also does show the times that they are coming in at.
Yes.
So right now we're at about 8:40. So if you take a look at that scoreboard, you can see some updates for the times as well.
So we just heard a bell, folks may have heard it. That's the start of the last lap. They do that for swimming, and they do that for track and field. I think we still have our same 2nd place runner, as being John Ferry from Rising Sun. So we've got a 3rd place runner coming by here right now with 1 lap to go. I think that's Jaden Parrish. We got Luke Bahala in 4th place. And what we don't know about is how close they are to their normal times, their best times. They could all be ahead of it, and we'll be able to tell you soon as they're finishing.
And as we see this shot, you see a lot of people on the infield. A lot of those runners are preparing for their events, getting some stretching in. Some of them might be cooling down from how they're feeling.
And here we have our leader coming in here for the finish. He's not going to get a best time, but he's got a good time.
Running out of the camera shot almost. He's going so fast.
Crosses the finish line right around 10. So our top seed finishes first, Garrett Savoy. And I think our second runner is going to be John Ferry coming through here. Right about now.
That's a
Now,
great race. John Ferry just dropped 20 seconds.
so let's see what happens between Jaden and Jaden's having a heck of a race here. His seat time was 11:08, and he's going to come in here very soon, coming to the line now. And he is going to have a, gosh,
Wow.
he's going to have like a 28-second drop. And then Luke Bahala coming through with a time right about his seat time. So he did fine.
Alan Tayo finished real quick behind him as well. So those are two huge drops from three really.
Alan dropped over 40 seconds here, it looks like.
We got a shot of Evan Oderwardle coming down the last stretch. He's on pace to get a good time right now too.
His PR is 11:15. Come on, Evan, pick it up, pick it up, pick it up.
He wants it.
11:13. I think he got it by a second. I think he got it by a second. We have good battle coming here for 3 runners. Boom, boom, boom. Good finish, gentlemen.
All PRs from that pack.
Excellent.
Another one, another one. Wow, this is a fun race. Look at this kick coming in.
Ooh,
Wow.
good job.
Looks like Jackson Doherty's about to finish from Sea Mountain Right.
Like I said, folks, I'd be proud of myself if I walked 2 miles. Good shot here.
Looks like that should be Caleb Quinn finishing. That's a best time.
Good job there. Yeah, I think our last runners are all getting best times here. We had a couple runners with a no time. So I want to see here if
I
our
think
track has
that's-
been cleared. I think that is all of them. And Travis, I think everybody.
Wow.
I think like out of 17 runners, I think 14 or 15 of them got PRs.
We have a couple Edgewood runners seated. So I'm not sure if that was Jack Reed or Miles Erickson, but either way, that could have been a 2-minute PR right there, Dad.
Wow.
If
that's
that was Jack Reed, great race.
So now we have coming up one of my favorite things, folks. And they're putting the hurdles on the track, and it's the girls 300-meter hurdles. And so this is a test of speed, toughness, agility, skill. Often, Travis, I would take a lot of my good 200 dashers and 400 dashers, and I would take girls and boys that weren't necessarily going to be top 6 in the county, and I would put them into 300 hurdles. And I remember one year in particular, John Carroll, that all 3 of my top 6 finishers from the previous year either didn't decide to run or they graduated. And I looked at all of my girls and I said, I need a volunteer for 300 hurdles. And I saw a lot of heads down, eyes looking away from me. And one girl whose older sister was a good distance runner for me said yes. And the other girls looked at her like, you're crazy. That event's crazy. That's tough. She won the county championship.
Wow.
She finished 3rd in states.
Wow.
And she wasn't even what you would call a speedster. She had good speed, but she learned her technique. She learned her pacing. And for those of you that don't know, folks, there's the same distance between the hurdles here, just like there is the 100 or 110 hurdles. So just like people work on 3, 4, or 5 steps, in this, people work on 20, 18, 25. They don't want to do 20 steps between the first and second hurdle, and then 25 seconds in between the next one, and then 30. They want consistency so that you can time getting over with the right leg.
And that's
So-
something they train for every day.
Yes.
Whenever I would watch the hurdlers, that would be a lot. It kind of, it looked a little silly at sometimes. You made the point of it looks, when they do the 3-step for the 110, it looks slower, but they take these really long strides and they go
Yes.
over and over and over again. But they're trying to get that countdown to drop some time come meet day.
So shout out again to our meet officials. We are, good shot of the pole vault there, and we make it. Nice technique. So for those who don't know, you have to plant the pole vault, and then you go up and over. And you want to let the bar bend and carry you over some, but that event takes strength and coordination. So we are 20 minutes ahead of pace on the meet time here, so that's very good. It's good for all of us working the meet, and that's a credit to our meet officials. So we have our first heat of the 300 girls hurdles here. And we have Kendall Faber from St. Milton Wright in lane 2 and Natalia Battle from Bel Air in lane 4. So are we missing one of them, Trav? Yep.
Looks like it.
Looks like we're missing our St. Milton Wright runner. This is hard to do. Run by yourself. So we have a good shot over here at the pole vault again, Travis, and you got a crowd around there. And
we got Natalia coming around that curve.
so you, all the way down here in the end of the track here, folks, you'll have pole vault. Sometimes you'll have other things like long jump hits and some areas you'll have shot put being thrown. So we're going to have our approach here in the pole vault. Pole vault is very psychological too. You have the amount of steps you'd like to do, and you want speed approaching down the runway there. Now we have our finish here for our last hurdle. Good job. She was right about her best time there. I like to see that.
Might have even dropped a few seconds.
So our second heat for the 300 hurdles is Marissa Reiser from Bel Air lane 2, Faniera Barnett from Edgewood in lane 4, Zainab Azarabaloon, Edgewood lane 6. Did my best, folks. And again, we're missing somebody, Travis. It looks like we're missing one of our Edgewood runners. And she's
to a
going
great
out
start,
fast.
yeah.
She's going out fast. So the very first time I ran this event, Travis, I won the 298-meter hurdles. Unfortunately, it's 300 meters. I tripped over the last hurdle and fell,
no.
and I watched the pack go by me. My teammates waited till I would see if I was okay before they laughed, but they definitely laughed at me. I think that we're going to be a DQ there because she just mistimed one of her hurdles, and she went around it. So this is where you still run for the time.
Absolutely.
She is definitely tiring out here. This is an exhausting event for those who have never done this. And she's right near a best time. So it's a shame that she had to go around that one track, that one hurdle, I meant to say.
Both those runners hit right at their time, Marissa and Zainab.
So one of the worst experiences of my life, Travis, Mr. Bishop took me and about 5 other faster runners to the Junior Olympics. And he entered me in the intermediate hurdles. I went there thinking I was running the 300-meter hurdles. It was the 400-meter hurdles.
Oh.
So that was a big shock to me to have to run an extra 100 meters. So right in here we have, looks like Amy Bowen from St. Milton Wright is in lane 2. And then we have Edgewood, we have Takiawa, Ephraim Menza from Edgewood, and then we have Maya Haney from St. Milton Wright. But again, I think we're missing a runner, and I think we're missing the inside lane runner.
Yeah. So I think it's Maya and Takiawa.
Yeah. So we have leading here is Edgewood, and I think, let's see how strong she can hang on because she's ahead of her pace. But that last 20 meters is a bear in this race.
Your legs are burning and you still got to jump up. Good times, both 2 PRs.
Yeah, I think that was very good. So we have our 4th heat of 6 coming up here. And we have Bria Huff Cranshaw from Aberdeen in lane 2. We have Olivia Rucco from Hartford Tech in lane 4. And we have Jalen Strand from Perryville in lane 6. So folks that don't know, we have all kind of communication that goes back and forth in a track meet. Your starter is looking for a signal from the finish line from somebody in charge of the timing crew that it's okay to start the next race. because you have to clear the watches and everybody has to get ready. And even if it's an electronical system, you still want to make sure you're ready to start the next race. So we have, is this our fifth heat, Trav? Fourth? Okay, we have Bria Cranshaw from Aberdeen again, Olivia Rucco, and Jalen Strand. These times are very seated closely, so, but we have our Perryville runner, Jalen Strand, really taking it out on the outside here. Oh no, is that the middle runner?
That looks like Olivia from Hartford Tech.
Hartford Tech, she really took this out. She's only seated 1 second or less faster than these two girls. So she is on to a possible big PR here, Travis. I think we got a 2-second drop there.
Wow. Great race.
You could see the pain on her face there finishing, but you know, you got to endure a little bit of pain to get a PR, especially in a race like that. So we are now to the fifth heat here, and this is where we're really getting to the placers here. But I'm not gonna say that Olivia couldn't sneak into the top 6 with that last time.
For sure.
Did. So we have Maddie Cleary from Rising Sun in lane 2, Abigail Finley from Bel Air in lane 4, and Meredith Hovader from Rising Sun in lane 6. And they are seated within a half a second each other, and 2 of the girls have the same exact time.
That's been happening a lot today.
You see a lot of different styles here. So for those of you who are watching and hurdling is new to you, you don't want to see them rise. Their head should not rise in the air too much. They want to stay in a level plane, and all 3 of these girls are doing a great job of that.
There will be one more heat of girls after this one. There will be one more heat of girls after this one.
It looks like it's going to be a tight race down to the finish for this one.
So we hit a hurdle there on the inside lane, but she's maintaining the lead. Fatigue's starting to set in here. And she goes over the last hurdle well. And I think we have some PRs on the first 2 runners there. Certainly our leader there, and Maddie on the inside. So this is where you can see people sneaking up spots, Travis. I mean, the hardest part is to be the lowest seed in a heat.
Yep.
And the people are running faster than you, and psychologically, you got to tell yourself, but I got to go, I got to go.
I'm still in it, yep.
Yes, because you got to beat those times from the other heats. So coming to our final heat here, we have Marabella Sanchez from Hartford Tech in lane 2. We have Destiny Baker from Hartford Tech in lane 1, and we have Katie Callahan from Rising Sun in lane. And then 2 of these girls are seated under 50, which is outstanding. Destiny Baker running a 47.79 seat time. That's outstanding.
I feel like we've been talking about the Callahans a lot today.
Yes, we have.
I'm not sure if it's the same one or if they're siblings, but they're doing great.
So you have 2 different styles here. You have a longer stride on Katie Callahan, and this one's tighter than I thought it was going to be. They're right there, and Katie's putting some pressure on her.
This one's going to be close.
Katie going to pull off an upset here? Oh, man, that was close. I think Katie might have got it at the lean, but I'm going to say that our winner of the last heat is definitely going to move up to 3rd, probably. What a finish. Good shot at Al Baker there at the finish line. Al's a longtime coach. He and I used to each put 3 girls from our teams in the final 6. And we were always challenging each other for that. So now we're going to go to our boys 300-meter hurdles. Do you have any results for us, Trev?
Yeah, I have the boys 400-meter results. Jack Hines from Bel Air came in with a 50.18. Alexander Walkenfuss with a 51.26. Frank Barnett with a 51.48. I also have the boys 32, which was Garrett Saboy coming in at a 10-minute 10:01. John Ferry with a huge PR dropping down to 10:19. And Jaden Paris with another big PR of a 10:41.
Awesome. So here in the boys 300-meter hurdles is our next event. The boys always follow the girls. In heat 1, we have Kylan Fletcher from Cement Wright, and then in heat I'm in heat 4, and in lane 6 we have Maxwell Burris from Edgewood. Excuse my mixing up my words here, folks. I have to say heat, lanes, times. This one's pretty close now. Another thing that you can't do in these events, folks, that you have to realize is you're not allowed to go out of your lane. So it's going to be a tough finish here. They're both tiring out. They're both right on their seed pacing. So good job, gentlemen.
Great races. The other thing that's difficult, to your point about staying in your lane, that's also on the landing.
Yes.
So a lot of the time when you go up, you might be a little off balance, especially with those ones on the curve that you don't realize your momentum's carrying you a little bit outside. And you still got to have that body control to bring your feet down in your lane.
So heat 2, we have Malachi Williams from Aberdeen. I want to say I called him in a football or basketball game earlier this year. And Gideon Konensky from Rising Sun, so in lane 4 and 6. And seed time off 1 second from each other. So let's see what we have here. So piggybacking on your point there, Travis, you want to lift your knee, then you want to extend your heel out towards a hurdle, but you'll see some hurdlers do more of a swing motion, and our leader is doing that right now. And when you do a swing motion of your foot, your both feet have to go over the hurdle. They cannot go around. I think we have a good time there on that one.
Looks like Malachi came in right around his PR at a 48. Yeah. And I got to say, Malachi was quick on the ground. You could tell right from the start. He made a beeline for that first hurdle.
So the coach in me comes out, Travis, and I hope he's an underclassman because he's fast.
Mm-hmm.
So if his hurdling technique improves, he's going to be 3 to 5 seconds faster next year. Makes you want to get out and coach again, Travis. So in heat 3 of 6, we have Gavin Stowell from Edgewood in lane 2, Messiah Noel from Bel Air in lane 4, and Jackson Sims from Seamount Wright in lane 6. So they're really attacking this. So we're going to see. Some people think it's more dangerous to attack the hurdles. We have one hurdle hit there, and it slowed him down for Jackson. He's getting a little bit tired, but we got our inside lane coming on here in Messiah Noel. You want to attack the hurdle, Travis, because trying to go over hurdle slow is actually harder than trying to go over hurdle fast.
For sure. We had a really good finish there from, looks like Gavin coming in at the end, maybe squeezing out a PR. So great finish there, boys.
So lane heat 4. In lane 2, we have Alex Curry from Seamount Wright. In lane 4, we have Corey Reevy from Harvard Tech. In lane 6, we have Sean Henderson from Perryville. So these boys, gentlemen, are all running in the 45-second range.
You can see with this shot right now that infield is clearing out more and more as we're getting down to the last few heats.
Yeah, they may be also finishing more and more field events. You'll see people clear out more and more.
Oh, Corey's going for it off the start.
Yeah, he's attacking, and he's smooth looking. So when you're hurdling, Travis, it's just like other things where you reach in opposition. So when you throw a ball, you step with one, you throw with one hand, you step with the other. So if you're going over with a right foot lead leg, your left arm is supposed to reach out. Now Corey is very fast here, but you'll see his arms as he gets tired sail out to the outside. And you want to kind of pump your arms if you can. But man, I think he just got a PR by a lot.
Yeah, Corey was our top seed in the 110 hurdles, so impressive to see that he can translate that speed still.
So we'll have to wait and see, Trev. But I'm gonna lay odds that he might sneak into the top 6 on that, even though we have 6 runners left. See how prophetic I am later on. You can see if I'm right there. Help me remember that. Corey Reevy, did he move up? Well, that's where this sport is so fun, is seeing the PRs and so forth. So we have Heat 5 coming up here, and we have Derek Rudd from Hartford Tech in lane 2, Ty Stifler from Perryville in lane 4, Sean Haracharan Bel Air in lane 6, and they're running 42s here. So let's see if they can match or beat their times. If they're running into a headwind on this one, travel on either straightaway, that's hard.
Yeah.
This is a hard event to have to deal with a headwind.
Looking at the trees, it looks like the wind might have settled down a bit.
Yeah. The tape's still moving on the infield, but I can't tell. I don't think it's nearly as much as it was before. This one's pretty close.
Looks like our lane 6 runner, Sean, is attacking it pretty good from the start. See
how
if the
much-
curve can help out.
Now you can tell, folks, who's leading by who goes over the hurdle first when you're seeing the curve and stuff. So our inside lane here, Derek Rudd is possibly stealing this race, and he's really got a good-looking time going here. Let's see. Yeah, I want to say that Corey Reeve might have beaten at least 2 of those in that heat. So I think he's moved up to at least 4th or 5th. Yeah, we see this in swimming, and now you're seeing it in track and field. The distance races are pretty straight up, Trav. You know, all your winners are going to come out of your fast heat if it's 1 heat or if it's 2 heats, usually. 800, we haven't seen that yet. We've seen people steal
Absolutely.
top places from the second fastest heat. So here we go for our fastest heat with Mateo McGraw from Hartford Tech in lane 2, Calvin Karanja from Edgewood in lane 4, and Leo Dinnan from Bel Air in lane 6. So Calvin has a top seed time of 41.26, and he's already taken the race out here, made up the stagger on the outside lane, and he's pulling away from the inside lane. So if he can run a clean race here, you would think he'd hold on to this.
His hurdles just look so smooth.
But we do have a challenge coming from the outside here as he's tiring out. Yep.
Wow.
Held on, Calvin. I think he was right around 40 there, so I
Yep.
can't wait to see the results there. I love seeing people. I've been fortunate enough to coach multiple people to under 40, which is another one of those milestones.
As we finish up the boys 300-meter hurdles, we got the results from the girls 300. Katie Callahan did take the win from Rising Sun with a PR of 47.94. Destiny Baker from Hartford Tech in second place with a 48.01. And Maddie Cleary, also from Rising Sun, with a PR of 51.52. Great race, girls.
Wow.
Again, scrolling through, I'm seeing PR, season best.
So we have the 200 dash coming up, folks. So they clear the hurdles, and they did a quick, good job of that. So kudos to the hurdle crew. And now we're doing the 200 dash, which is the second highest sprint. I mean, some people will still argue that the 400 is not a complete sprint, but coaches will tell you it is. Some athletes will be like, no, coach, it's a middle distance event. But this 200, Travis, I've done this, and my little legs did not come in handy on that. You see some of the longer-legged sprinters that have an advantage in this. People say you should be able to hold your sprint to full speed, but 200, but that's hard.
Absolutely.
I mean, you've done a bunch of 200s in practices where Donnie made you guys do a bunch of them, and holding this is where you're going to see your form come in. Are they holding their form? Because when you see things like the head bouncing, bobbing side to side, arms pumping across body, they refer to it as tightening up.
Yeah.
And if you start to tighten up, people will pass you at the finish line here. So,
We also actually just got the boys' results for the 300 hurdles.
awesome.
Calvin Karanja did win with a 40.77, holding off Leo Dinnan from Bel Air. Leo got a PR of 40.99. And Derek Rudd, who was in the 5th heat, snuck into 3rd place with a PR of 42.77.
Wow.
So that was a great race. First separating 3rd place and 7th place was only 1.5 seconds.
So I need to know, what did Corey Reeve finish?
5th place.
I told you he's thinking the top 6.
I didn't want to admit it. Good job, Corey.
Sons don't like to admit when their parents are right, folks. So in this 200, everybody should come out of the blocks. And it's a strange phenomenon, folks, because you're coming out of blocks and then going into a turn right away.
Yeah.
So you want to push. It's almost like you're jumping. So you want to push right out of the blocks, and then you want to drive your way out. So here we come with first heat, and we're supposed to have Sarah Carvin in lane 2, Savannah Bennett in lane 3, and then Johnson, Jamie in lane 4, and then Paris Abraham. So what lanes do we have here, Trev? Looks like 2 and 5.
2 and
it looks
5,
like. Yes.
So Sarah Carvin and Paris Abraham.
Paris is really taking this away here. Her seed time was 34, and look at this.
Wow.
It's like almost a 4-second drop.
That's amazing.
So now we have heat 2 of 4, and we have Amma Okeror at Hartford Tech in lane 1, Amanda Anson in lane 2 from Aberdeen, Allison Mace from Bel Air in lane 3, Trinity Green from Edgewood in lane 4, Jasmine Udoson from Aberdeen in lane 5, and Mercedes Figueroa in lane 6. So they make sure the people clear from timing, and then they start the next race. Is what they do here, folks. So were we lucky enough to get any more field event results?
Let me take a look.
What happens here, folks, is they have to alternate. So while the boys' pole vault's going on, they might do the girls' high jump, and then they switch them. And then when the girls' shot put's happening, the boys' discus is going, and the same thing with the long and triple jump.
We have the girls' triple jump results. Madison Morgan with a PR of 36. Summer Edwards with a PR of 34.06. And Katie Callahan with a PR of 34.02. We got a tight race right here.
Yeah, I'm liking this. This is inside lane trying to come up on the lane 2, and she's doing it.
Looks like Amma from Hartford Tech going for a huge PR.
Edgewood's coming up on Aberdeen. Nope, Aberdeen just
Wow.
pulls them off. Yeah, and that was outstanding, Travis. I mean, you could see the pain on her face, like fighting, but her body did not tighten up.
Absolutely.
And that's awesome. So now we have heat 3, and now we're getting into everybody under 30 in their time here. So we have Aubrey Sims from Seamount Wright in lane 1, Elia Webb from Edgewood in lane 2, Miracle Miles from Elkton in lane 3, Caitlin Martin from Rising Sun in lane 4, Autumn Jackson from Edgewood in lane 5, and Bella Chavis in lane 6. So somebody from this group could challenge for placing in the top 6. But then again, our leader of the last race.
I was going to say, Amma looked like she came in. If I saw that right, I think it was a 27 high.
Yeah.
And that time will put you in the fast heat already.
So some of you folks might be wondering, why would a girl be able to drop a minute in, or 35, 40 seconds in the 2 mile, 3,200? Why is somebody dropping 3 seconds in the 200? We don't know if they've been switched to new events recently. Like somebody might have started off in one event and now they've been switched to another in the last 3 or 4 weeks, and they're just learning it. So we really look like we have Edgewood runner Autumn took off from there on the outside, but let's see what the stagger does. It looks like our lane 3 and lane 5 are fighting it out. So that looks like Miracle and Autumn. And looks like Autumn is pulling it out there. So we are to the fastest heat of the girls 200-meter dash now, folks. And it should be a good one. We've got 4 girls running 26s.
Wow.
That's very fast. I've been lucky enough to coach some girls at championships in the entire counties back in the day before UCBACs, and they were running 26, 27s. So to have 4 girls in one meet representing 8 teams, and then 2 other girls in the 27s, this is a very fast, this is probably one of the stronger events I've seen of the day.
Absolutely. I also want to mention, you talked about representing 8 teams. That's a fun aspect of this track meet.
Oh, definitely. Caroline Mercer from Rising Sun is in lane 1. Summer Edwards from Aberdeen in lane 2. Madison Bob in lane 3 from Hartford Tech. Sage North from Elkton in lane 4. Myaven Ewing from Elkton in lane 5, and Madison Morgan from Hartford Tech in lane 6. So let's see if Madison Bob can get the double here. So if I'm correct right so far, did she win the 400 or the 100?
Look. Madison Bob won the 100.
Okay. So it looks like she's in the lead here. Looks like she's going to pull this out pretty convincingly. And what a pack for the rest.
That looked like it should have been a PR. I think she might have came through at 25 something.
So we'll be excited to see that, folks. But I will tell you, even if it wasn't a PR, the separation she got between her and the rest of the field, there is a little bit of wind out there, folks. So when somebody comes in with a best of 26 something, doesn't mean they're going to match it that day. The weather conditions even affect track and field. You know, on a really, really, really hot day, it takes its toll on the distance runners. Windy days takes its toll on everybody. So now we're coming to the boys 200. So we'll be having those girls 200 results for you soon. And we have 4 heats here. And our first heat, we're going to have Dylan Zahn from Rising Sun, Richie DePilloff from Rising Sun, Jaden Bayard from Perryville, Logan Barkley from Hartford Tech, Josiah Rose from Perryville, and Daniel Darby from Aberdeen. So it looks like we got one person taking off here pretty good on the inside middle.
Wow.
Now let's see if that holds. Well, we got 2 people. We have an Aberdeen on the outside, Daniel Darby still in this race so far. Wow. Now that's a PR.
He didn't have a time coming into it too. So
Right.
First time running the 200 this year, and looked like he was in the 23s. That's amazing.
Now that used to be something in the old days that I don't remember them allowing, Travis, is running with a no time. But they do allow that now in some meets.
We also just got our girls 200 meter results loaded in. Madison Bob finished with a season best 25.95. Sage North took second place from Elkton with a 26.91. And Summer Edwards of Aberdeen finished third place with a 26.93.
Wow, fast race. So now heat 2, we have Isaiah Meganson from Edgewood, lane 1. Anthony Kopp from C. Milton Wright in lane 2. Josh Burke from Rising Sun in lane 3. Logan Sabatino from Bel Air in lane 4. Markel Shelton from Aberdeen in lane 5. And Brennan Appleby Herwig from Hartford Tech in lane 6.
And we mentioned earlier, but the fun aspect of the 200, the 100, the 400 even, is how close these times are. We have our top seed, Josh Burke, with a 24.09, and our bottom seed is 24.54. So it's only separated by, we're talking tenths of a second that are separating our top and bottom racers.
And I think we may be missing somebody or 2 people here. So now we're talking about this heat, somebody could affect the next heat's times and move up. So it looks like another Aberdeen runner, but is Edgewood going to come on the inside here? So very good job. So was that, I think that was Markel Shelton on the outside there.
And we got a good view of that finish, that lean at the end. Markel could have dropped off a few tenths there.
So again, the coach and me coming out, was he tightening up a little bit? Yes. But he toughed that out. And it sounds weird to tough out a running race in a sprint, but his body was telling him, I don't feel like finishing this strong. And he just fought through it because those other runners were coming right on him. So I'm going to say this one right here for heat 3. This is the one that could impact the standings, especially the middle 2 lanes here. So we have Isaiah Cruz for Edgewood, lane 1, Solomon Pope, Elkton, lane 2, Emmanuel Atanga Jr. in lane 3. We have Isaiah Huffslutter in lane 4. We have Aiden Valentin from Bel Air in lane 5 and Owen Kilduff Perryville in lane 6. So watch these these threes that are in the 23s here, lane 2, 3, and 4, Travis. If any of them can pop a PR or near it, they're right on the fast heats times.
Yeah, it's going to be a really close one. Mentioned it last heat too. The first place seed in the whole event is only 2.5 off from people we're seeing in this heat. So it's going to be really close.
So we are winding down here after these last two 200s, and then we will have the 800s left, the 4x4, and the 4x1, and that'll be the end of the meet, folks.
And to your point about these close times, I mean, Ama from the girls 200 was a perfect example. She was she jumped up to 8th place after she dropped 2 seconds in her PR. So anything can happen.
A good start all the way around here, but it looks like Edgewood in the inside lane is making a move on at least one runner. Good shot at the outside 3 lanes here. Edgewood was in the lead, but it looks like these other runners' strength is going to come through. So that looked like that was Emmanuel pulling out that win. And then now we have 800 runner, one more heat of the 4x4.
Aberdeen is on a roll. That's 3 heats in a row they just stole.
So we'll have to see if Emmanuel can slide up into the top 6 there points-wise. See if that helps him, helps his team score some points. So in the final heat here, we have Landon Krebs from Cement Right in lane 1. We have Joshua Brill from Elkton in lane 2. We have Frank Barnett from Edgewood in lane 3. We have Jason Smothers from Bel Air in lane 4. We have Matt Luke from Cement Right in lane 5. And we have Alexander Walkenfuss from Hartford Tech in lane 6. So I know we've seen some of these names in the 100. And this is a little funny thing, Trav, how these sprinters have a rivalry. All these athletes have a rivalry, running against each other for years. So the kid that got edged by 1/10 of a second in the 100 is dying to come back and beat that same person in the 200. So they can at least say, well, I got you in the 2. So here we go here.
Friendly competition. It'll definitely push you. And again, you see that's those teammates helping out the start, standing on the back of those blocks. Get a better push off.
Oh, definitely. Okay, so as they're sprinting, they will pick up the blocks and get them off the track as they prepare for the girls 800. But it looked like we have a runner in the blue out there really taking off. Wow. I think that's our top seed or one of them. Jason Smothers. Cement Right's coming on.
1. You called it.
Wow. That's Landon Krebs. And didn't he do the same thing earlier? Now, Landon came in with a seed time 0.6 or 0.6 behind. And yet he made that up. And
that's amazing.
Landon's coming on strong here. So that's the conclusion of the 200. And we are literally about 26 minutes ahead of schedule here. So again, kudos to the people here. We have the first heat of the 2 for the girls 800-meter run. And we have Victoria Klipner from Hartford Tech. And we have Lauren Tuman from Cement Right, Olivia O'Connor from Hartford Tech, Sasha Pozzoki from Aberdeen, Shaylin Disler from Perryville, Emily Silva from Elkton. We have Rosie Diaz from Perryville, Makaida from Kuman from Elkton, Brooke Liddick from Perryville, and Lacey Nunley from Elkton. And we are ready for the start here. The official is getting them ready, Travis.
And you see right now our starter has to make that switch from the 200 side back over to the 800. It's not just the athletes that get the workout today. Everybody involved, moving all over the place. And especially like I mentioned earlier, that athletic trainer is always on the move. Right now we got a good shot of down the line of our 800 runners. Again, we have that curved line. Our runners on the outside, I'm sure that's what the starter's telling them right now. When they say set, they can scoot up to that curved line before the gun goes off to balance out the distance between lane 1 and lane 6. Also probably confirming we're all on the right seeds. I mentioned again earlier that number that a lot of our runners wear shows us which lane they're going to go into, what their seed is coming into it. And here we go. We had a couple really good break-ins from there, from the outside, getting into those early, those middle lanes. Got a good shot coming around. Pack is separating themselves up front. Looks like we got 5 up front, separating themselves, try to get that lead.
So we talked before about people stealing places in scoring points. It doesn't happen in the distance events as much because unlike the professionals who will sometimes, you know, there's a big track meet, Travis, indoor called the Melrose Games. And the Melrose Mile is a big famous thing. Well, they just want to win. They don't care about the time. So there's only one heat. So they'll run a tactical race. When you're in the Olympic trials, people will try to run fast in the trials to make the final. But once it's a final, people don't care about the time again.
Yep.
They just care about winning a medal. So the difference here is this second heat of the girls 800, they're not going to pace themselves. They're going to go fast.
Right.
There's too many people to run a tactical race. So it looks like we have one runner separating herself here a little bit.
Yeah, now's the time. And in 800, you got to make your move early. And to your point, if you don't make that move early on, there might not be that opportunity coming down later on.
So they're reeling in our leader here a little bit. So I'm trying to figure out if that's the, in the blue there, if that's the Aberdeen girl, Sasha, that went out. But now she's trying to hold her off on the curve.
Yep.
She did hold her off. So the girl was trying to pass her. So she put on a little spurt. But sometimes that little spurt to hold somebody off gets you on the straightaway. So let's see what that does to her energy. This is where it comes down to guts, folks. You got 3 girls who've run a good race. They're all feeling it.
It looks like it's going to be Sasha holding off so far.
Wow, good finish. And then another one passing at the line there.
Wow. Sasha came in around a 2:40, which looks like it's about a 13-second PR.
Awesome.
And I think all 3 of those girls, maybe all 4, yep, all 4 of those girls should have just gotten a best time. So great race.
Definitely. So we have a good sprint here coming at the end here.
That's a good kick.
Now there's 2 schools of thought with a good kick like that, Travis. Good for her for being that tough, and maybe she saved a little bit too much.
Right.
But that's a learning experience too. Her coach will say to her, great kick. Now next time we're going to go out slightly faster. So it looks like those girls got, some of our girls there got some best times too because they were seated at 2:29, 2:31.
Yeah.
They came in around 2:20, 3:22 I meant to say. So now we have heat 2 of the 2 heats of the girls 800. Lane 1 we have Gianna Dawson, Bel Air, our number 1 seed with 2:25, and then Brielle Whitworth from Edgewood also with a 2:25. We have Anna Callahan, Rising Sun, 2:27. Amanda Callahan running 4th with a 2:29. We have Ellie Basham from Seamountain Wright, 2:31, and Anna Kane from Bel Air with a 2:34. The other 6 girls are Tarada. I'm not even going to try to say that name, Travis, because I will do it a disservice.
Yeah.
Christina Venegas from Harvard Tech, Caitlin Lacey from Rising Sun, Carly Jennert from C. Milton Wright, Amaya Edmonds from Edgewood, and Lily Enazuado from Edgewood. So this is the fast heat of the 800, folks. You should see a more jumbled pack. The difference from first to 12th seed is 17, 18 seconds.
And if my memory serves, I think Brielle was our 1600 meter champ. So looks like she might have an opportunity to go 2 for 2 today.
Yeah, let's see what Gianna has to say about that. But Brielle looks like she likes to be aggressive, doesn't she?
And we have those Callahan sisters again. We got Anna and Amanda.
Now they're going to be
everywhere,
battling to beat each other.
And yeah, we talked about teammates pushing each other. Sisters pushing each other is a whole different level.
Yes, it is. They both passed fellow runner Gianna Dawson. Gianna has a different style. She did it in the 16. That's not Gianna?
I think that might be Anna Kane. I think Gianna might have withdrawn today.
Okay.
We got a good race again, though. We got those top 2 pulling away. I think that's Brielle and one of the Callahan sisters, I believe.
Oh, she's trying to make a move right now on the backstretch, but my heart says Brielle's going to make her work to get past her, and she does. So that's a big strategy there, folks, that people don't know about. Like, you're getting in the other person's head when they work to get by you, and you say, nope, not right now.
Gotta close that door.
So now, Brielle is putting a little spurt, but we have to see if our Callahan girl here is going to fight back off the turn. Sometimes we call it whipping off the turn, like you take the momentum of the turn and right timing it perfectly, you try to sprint past them, but it doesn't
like
look
Step Brothers. Slingshot.
Let's Step Brothers, you mean Talladega Nights.
Talladega Nights.
So
yes.
we're Brielle's going to have a double here today, folks. Good day.
Good PR too.
Jerry Henderson is a happy coach today. A lot of good finishes here. Coming on strong.
A lot of these have to be PRs.
Yes. And you know what? It's a little chilly, Travis. So chilly is not the weather for distance runners to usually get PRs.
Right.
You know, you don't want it to be too hot, but you want it to be not chilly. So we have our first heat of the boys 800-meter run, and we have Tyler Lunsford from C. Milton Wright in lane 1. We have Darian Walters, Edgewood, lane 2. Peter Donoram from C. Milton Wright, lane 3. Jordan Perrine from Rising Sun. We have Anthony Thompson, Perryville, Nathan Bennett, Edgewood, Cameron Howell, Elkton, Marell Wilson, Elkton, Braden Strickland, Elkton, AJ Jones, Rising Sun, and Rowan Gatch, Perryville.
Got a good start right here. Looks like one of our C. Milton runners, looks like might be Tyler Lunsford. Lunsford is going for separate himself a little bit from the pack. Again, that's something that might be necessary if you wanna drop some time.
You have Darian Walters looked like he tried to reel him in there for a second, but see how much that Tyler pushes his pace.
I think Tyler might have been one of our 4x8 runners too that I saw earlier. Trying to hold off some of his opponents earlier on too.
Any more results we can do, Travis, here before we finish this first lap?
We have the boys 300-meter hurdles. We had Calvin Karanja with a 47.7 from Edgewood. Leo Dinnan with a 49.9 from Bel Air. Derek Rudd with a 42.74 for third place. The girls, let's see if the girls 800 has loaded in. Yep. We have, let me confirm real quick. Yep. Brielle Whitworth, first place from Edgewood with a PR of 224. Amanda Callahan with a 226 season best. And assuming her sister Anna Callahan with a 231 in third place. So again, seeing a lot of those Callahan sisters having a great day here for Rising Sun.
So we're coming to the finish here, and yes, Tyler Lungford took it out, and he was attacking the race and seeing if he can get a PR here. His best time is 2:17, and he should get that with about a 2:15. Good job. Is that another semi-right runner coming through there? Looked like Peter Donner might have got second, Trav.
Good race all around. Looks like a lot of best times. And that time from Tyler, again, it might let himself into the fast heat a little bit with that time.
So we're getting ready to start our fast heat of the 4x800, and then as that's happening, the 4x100 runners are lining up, and that'll be two really fast races, and one of my favorites. So for the fast heat of the 800 here, we have Holden Cross from Aberdeen, we have Jack Hines from Bel Air, Daniel Wilson, Aberdeen, Ryan Cascone, Bel Air, Kevin Lyons, Bel Air, Aiden Demetrakis from Simon Wright, Seth Topfer from Hartford Tech, Matthew McKay, Rising Sun, Benjamin Saltsiak, Hartford Tech, Edgewood, James Beretta, Michael Besser from Hartford Tech, and Brady Martin from Perryville. See what kind of start we get here. Our favorite was Smart, and he was aggressive, but I will tell you, one of the inside lane people there got cut off. And got swallowed up by the pack a little bit there.
Yeah, definitely. I also just saw, I couldn't quite tell who it was. Somebody making a big move on the outside,
right,
putting themselves up in third place. Got to be real aggressive on these 800 starts.
So as I was saying, we got a good shot of the pack here, and they're all grouped very tightly. You know, your top, you have a 201 seed for Holden. You have a 204 for Jack Hines and Daniel Wilson. And you have a 207. So I'm going to see the pace here at the end of one lap, Travis, to tell you whether the lower seeds have a chance to move up on speed. The lower seeds don't want the top seeds to go out the faster pace, as I talked about before. They want them to make it reasonable. So this is not a fast first lap at all. That is not a fast pace.
We might see Tyler sneak in a little bit higher than we thought from Heat 1.
Yeah, so they only came through at like 105, and yet maybe even slower. They're on a 210 pace, folks, and that is the pace of our 8th, 9th seed.
And
So
I think it's evident now that we see we see Holden pushing it big time. You see how big those strides are?
yeah, those two realized, what did we do? We went too slow. So now they took off to break the pack because they have way too much energy left, as you can tell by watching their speed. They look like they're running a 200 dash right now, Travis.
That's amazing.
So
I don't even know what to say. That's incredible.
Bel Air coming on.
Wow.
Jack Hines came on. And they still got back to that near their times. And the rest of the pack's
Great
coming
finishes.
through with a lot of speed here.
That was very impressive, second 400.
Well, that was an interesting 800, Travis. That was kind of a strange 800 because it was literally, for those of you that think I'm being mean here, but I say that was a slow first lap, I meant for their pace, for their times. So you don't usually see a literally
a negative split.
Yeah, I mean, that was a 105, 107 first 400, followed by
56,
sub
57.
Yes.
That's impressive.
But that was smart on both of them. Now, I do
Yeah.
think that the pacing might have cost Holden the win because he had a seed time faster. He would have probably been better served to try to break the pack, But he still got second place.
Definitely. A takeaway you could take from that race too for those runners is this might be a, oh wow, I had that much left in me.
Yes.
And that 2:02 today could easily drop under 2 minutes next meet.
So now we have our 4x100 relay girls, 2 heats, folks. These races generally last about 1 minute each. And just like the 4x2, but even more so in this one, it's all about the exchanges. So you have every 100 meters, you have a runner, and there will be a coach, at least one coach from some teams out there with a white and red flag deciding whether the runner is handed off in the exchange zone. So we have 2 heats of the girls and 2 heats of the boys, and then after that all we have is 1 4x4 girls heat and 2 4x4 boys heats. And the meet will be over. We will post final scores on the screen at the end of the meet for you to see. We will not have all the scores as I'm calling it right now because the field events will go longer than the running events. I do want to say thank you to our crew for today. Great job so far. This is a first experience for them. They are excellent. I watch them at baseball games. I watch them at soccer games, football, name it. And they can follow the ball everywhere, and they have multiple angles. And our tech crew, everybody does a great job. I'm just the person that gets to talk about it. Thank you, Travis, for being here. This was great.
It's been a whole lot of fun.
So here we are going to start. So now on this one, Travis, you have to start in a blocks with a baton in your hand. And people don't realize that that's hard to do. So the race has started, and we're going to the first exchange here. That was a good handoff. Both teams clean. Now we're going on the back stretch. And let's see how this exchange goes. Clean. Clean. Now the second one could have been a little bit movement better, but it was still clean.
And for some of our viewers that this might be their first track meet, you'll see the runner waiting for the baton start a little bit before where the 100 meters actually begins.
Right.
That's to give them a little bit of momentum. And there's a transfer zone, a little handoff zone that they're allowed to meet in, and that's where we see that white flag get raised up or red flag if it wasn't a clean handoff.
So Rising Sun won that one fairly easily. It looks like C. Milton Wright did not show up. So now for the Heat 2, we have Elkton in lane 2, Aberdeen in lane 3, Hartford Tech in 4, and Edgewood in 5. So this is where your winner will likely come unless Rising Sun dropped a ton of time. But they did look like they were really moving. So I'll be curious to see their time.
We also have the boys 800 meter results. Jack Hines from Bel Air won with a 2:02.10. Daniel Wilson got a 2:02.7 with a season best from Aberdeen. And Seth Topher from Hartford Tech finished in 3rd place with a 2:10.23.
So here comes the first exchange, Travis. Let's see if we have a clean one. Very smooth, both teams. Looks like Hartford Tech's out in the lead.
And we see Aberdeen making another move. I think that same athlete was one that closed the gap in the 4x2 earlier today.
So that was a good exchange there. And this is closer than it looks, folks, because Aberdeen is inside lane. So let's see how much she can make up on the stagger. And then you got to do a handoff on the stagger. So this is really a good race here, but Hartford Tech's in the lead.
I think that looks like Madison Bob, too, closing out for Tech.
Yeah, it looks like she's going to get her 3rd gold medal of the day, Travis.
That's very impressive.
I'm wondering if she was in the 4x2 or if she's in one more event. If she's going to get herself a 4 gold medal day, that's amazing. So that was an outstanding race in the girls 4x1. So now we are down to boys 4x1. And Heat 1, we have Rising Sun in lane 2, Hartford Tech in lane 3, Perryville in lane 4, C. Milton Wright in lane 5. So they're set and ready already. And
And again, there we see some of those little practice starts. You kind of gonna want to get in your rhythm right before you jump off. Another good shot of our starter.
yeah, they don't pick just anybody for these jobs, Travis. I mean, it's a skill as well. They're not only doing the starting itself, but they're also lining people up, communicating with them, and they have to have a little patience because not everybody's doing what they're supposed to at the line.
There's also some communication going down right now between the other officials in the handoff zones that are making sure everybody's clear.
So good start here. This used to be one of my races, and one of my favorite things to coach as a coach. The meets can often come down to these last two relays, the 4x1 and the 4x400. We don't have access to the scoring right now to tell you how clean it was. All three had good handoffs there.
Looks like Hartford Tech might have a good look on the inside track.
Yep, let's see what the anchors have here. Very close. Is this our
We're gonna have Krebs
gentleman?
again from C. Milton.
Yeah, he's having quite a day, isn't he? Wonder if that kid plays football. I would not want to get run over by him.
I think, I believe it's Landon Krebs.
Mm-hmm.
If I read the results earlier correctly, I think he's a sophomore.
Wow.
So that's really impressive that he's hitting these times. Great race all around, though, from all of our teams.
So we have our final heat of the 4x100 relay, and this should be fast. We have Elkton in lane 2. We have Edgewood in lane 3. We have Bel Air in lane 4. And we have Aberdeen in lane 5. And I want to say that these top three teams are seated within 0.4 of a second from each other.
That's amazing.
And all three teams are seated within 5 or 6/10 of a second. So barely half a second, folks, in these events.
What's so exciting about the 4x1 too is that could be anything. That could be the start. It could be a handoff. It could be a finish. It could be a lean at the finish line. 4x1 is just so exciting that anything can happen. And these seat times, even though it determines what lane they're in, might not determine what time they finish in.
So last heat here. So here we go, first exchange, very good. Backstretch. This is a good race here, Trav. Everybody's in this right now, believe it or not. Edgewood needs a good exchange here, and you do. And the flag's up for everything being clean.
This is going to be a crazy finish.
So here we come in here with Edgewood leading like they're seated to, but let's see if
Maybe Elkton.
Elkton coming on at the end. Wow.
Just held off. Great race.
So that
Good job,
that goes true to what we were thinking about the how close those teams were seated. That was outstanding. So now we have our girls 4x400 relay, and there's only one heat. And we have in lane 1, we have Aberdeen, lane 2, Edgewood, 3 Bel Air, 4 Hartford Tech, 5 Rising Sun, and 6 C. Milton Wright. So our top seed here, Travis, is Bel Air with a 418. And then we have Edgewood and Hartford Tech both with 422. So, 428. So this is going to be close. So you got Donnie Mickey on the line, was telling everybody what to do on this second runners. So he's basically telling them, and you've been here and I've been here, that this is where they're lined up for the first exchange. So the first runner stays in their lane the entire way for the 400. And that's what the stagger is for those of you seeing the people with leads. The second runner receives the baton in their lane but then after they receive the baton, they can break into lane 1. And that's where you start to see the strategy and the maneuverability, like race car driving.
And again, you mentioned earlier that most 400 runners start from standing, but we do have an example in lane 4 of someone on the block.
So these girls are going to average about a minute and 5 to minute and 10 seconds each on running 1 lap. So while these girls are running, it looks like we have 2 different races here, Trav. We have the first 3 and then we have the back 3. And even though it looks like that's the way it's going to be,
You never know.
it changes quickly. So our second and third seeds are only 2 seconds ahead of Rising Sun seed time. So let's see what happens there. But all 6 of these teams place and score for their team. 2 of the teams did not have enough participants to fill. So is that Rising Sun?
Looks like it.
Yeah. Yeah, they're the 4th seed, and they are in first after that. So Donnie's just telling them to slide over to lane 1. Let's see if anybody can catch up here. So
That was a good maneuver on Aberdeen, just squeezing ahead in lane 1.
so you literally had Rising Sun is the 4th seed, and they obviously had the fastest leadoff leg. But let's see if their seed time is deceiving and they're faster than their 4:30 time.
And I could be wrong, but I think that might be a Callahan up front again for Rising Sun with that headband. I believe I saw her just running a second ago.
So I'm seeing that the girls in 2 and 3 are going to close in on her at all. But you know what? This is true toughness. This girl has ran middle distance and distance races, and she is being asked to come back at the end of the meet on tired legs and run the 4x400 relay, which is tough as heck.
Still putting in a real good time.
So we've got, looks like Belair closing it down a little bit. We talked about these exchanges, Trav. You don't want to run away when your teammate's tired. You're completely fresh. Get that baton in your hand and go. So, folks, sometimes you'll see in the 4x1 teammates like swallowing up their anchor and cheering them on big time. But in the 4x4, you're a little bit more tired.
Definitely.
So you're the first leg. You're trying to recover still. Now we have a close race here. Valera's closing down, but our 3rd runner from Perryville, Rising Sun, is trying to stay strong, putting a little spurt on here. It got back to like 2 meters, and now she's extending this a little bit. This is a crucial part of this race. You got your anchor coming up. If Belair is going to have a chance in this, they've got to keep this within a reasonable distance. So this Rising Sun runner is doing a great job here.
This is very impressive.
Harvard Tech's coming on from 2nd to 3rd here. 3rd to 2nd here. So
Good handoff.
let's see what these anchor. Oh, and she dropped it and collapsed on the infield. So that is a very interesting situation, folks. You don't get disqualified for sure if you drop the baton, but sometimes you do. So it depends on whether it went out of your lane or something else like that. So right now, the Harvard Tech team can still score, possibly. Belair is coming on.
Have a great lead right now at with Rising Sun right now, wrapping up their 4x4.
Yeah, but I'll tell you one thing. When she comes in the screen, the Belair girl made up a lot of the distance, but it might be too much to make up for sure. So Rising Sun's going to go from 4th to 1st, Trav, on seeding. So seeds can be deceiving.
That's a great finish. You are right, Belair crept up a lot.
Hartford Tech's going to come in 3rd. So we've got Belair crossing the line here, followed by Hartford Tech.
Got Aberdeen finishing up in 4th place.
So we are down to our last race here starting soon, folks. As we're waiting for one more team to finish here, we have Bel Air in the first heat of the 4x4. I apologize. We have Sea Mountain Right in lane 1, Perryville in lane 2, Rising Sun in lane 3. I'm going to do that again because we're not using lane 1. Sea Mountain Right in lane 2, Perryville in lane 3, Rising Sun in lane 4, Elkton in lane 5.
And that I think that anchor, I could be wrong, but I think that anchor from Sea Mountain did the 300 hurdles earlier today. So going from the 300 hurdles to the 400 in the same meet.
Yeah, that's not a lot of break time.
Tough. We have our same situation down there with Coach Donnie Mickey prepping our second runners to break into lane 1 once they get the baton. And right now you see them standing in their lane orders that they're supposed to be. But that might not be the case when they get the baton. And that's why we had a little bit of a mix-up with Hartford Tech, and I can't remember the other team last heat. That can be tricky.
So I've been to many meets, folks, where my team was up 3, down 3 going into this race. And you needed to steal a place or two, or you needed to hold a place to do this. So even though this is heat 1, these teams can place in the top 6. And this might be some crucial points for their team. So Travis, while we're wrapping up the second to last race of the meet, we have one more heat coming up. What are your thoughts so far on doing your first meet and your first event?
Hey, it's been a lot of fun. I love to be back in the track and field world. Been out of it for a couple years. But I think it really just shows that track is such a difficult sport. And all these athletes that are out here today, they're putting forth their best effort. I've been really happy and lucky to be calling it with you, and I've been having a lot of fun.
You've done a good job, and you're exactly right. Like a lot of athletes that play other sports that have a ball in it, like football and lacrosse and basketball, they sometimes look at these individual sports like swimming, track and field, wrestling, cross country, and they think, well, that doesn't take the same skill. It doesn't take the same effort. I hate to break it to them. It's kind of the opposite. You know, swimming 5,000 yards in swimming practices, running 5 miles in practice for track and field, doing what people don't realize that these sprinters do, and these 400 runners even, they do these workouts that are like so hard. Okay, we're going to run 10 400s today, and you have 2 minutes rest in between each one. Interesting effort here coming in.
You got a good stride there,
Elkton pumping his arms extra hard. Let's see this exchange. Good handoff. More good handoffs. Look it into your hand, your coach will say.
And again, that was another tough transition where 2 teams were coming in at the same time, and you got to be careful. We don't want any collisions out there, obviously, but especially looking for that competitive edge.
So the Elkton runner got them a really good lead, but they...
That's a great stride right there.
Yeah. You got some tall runners here on this Elkton team. Nice strides.
We got a good fight for second and third as well. Looks like one of our teams is looking to make a move around the corner, maybe. And is that?
So it looks like our lead runner is slowing down a little bit. That's catching up with him his first 300, but let's see if he can hold it strong coming in here. And as I was saying, Travis, people don't understand these kind of workouts. Like, these runners do lots of repetition. So they'll have overtraining days where they'll run 800s. They'll run a little bit of mixed in distance. And they'll have other days where they're going to run 12 200s and mix in some speed. So this is that middle distance of speed with some endurance that you need a little combination of all the workouts. Elkton is running against the clock right now, Travis. This is they're winning this heat by 80 yards. And unless there's some kind of a miracle that somebody's going to run a 45-second anchor for one of these other teams, they're running against the clock. They're trying to move up into the top 4 times. So I'm going to be very curious to see how their time looks compared to the next heat.
Yeah, well, there's, it looks like their seeds are only half a second off of Edgewood.
Right.
So if they can push this, could be interesting.
Yes. Yes. So, so we are going to, I'm going to say here also with one race to go, Travis, I'm very glad we were able to do this. A lot of events, a lot of teams. We had 8 teams represented from girls and boys. And we will be literally hoping to do more track meets in the future. I want to thank the TV station for allowing us to do this. We have our final of our race coming up right now. And our next teams are making their way onto the track. So we have, at the finish line there, you can see the gentleman in the blue jacket. That's Eric Benjamin. I coached Eric Benjamin in youth track, and he was an outstanding 2-mile runner. Love to see him coming back and helping as well. So in the last heat here, we have Hartford Tech in lane 2, Bel Air in lane 3, Aberdeen in lane 4, and Edgewood in lane 5. 4 Hartford County rivals battling it out to the end. So our seed times here, Travis, Bel Air 3:28 and Aberdeen 3:32. So you would think on paper that this is going to come down to a 2-team race here for first and second. And then Hartford Tech and Edgewood at 3:40 and 3:45. It's going to be interesting to see if the winners of that last heat can creep in there with that.
It's going to be a close one. I think Elkton definitely put the pressure on for this next heat. And you can see some of them still hanging around the infield. I'm sure they're curious. They're probably thinking about it.
They are. So the sun is getting even stronger here right now. Beautiful day. Beautiful track.
Sorry, we also have some results from our earlier races. The girls 4x1 ended with Hartford Tech in first place with a 50.81. Aberdeen in second place with a 51.5. Elkton in third place with a 53.91. Let's see if our boys' results have come in already. Yep, we have, I believe these are the final results. Let me confirm before I say it. Yep. First place was Edgewood with a 44.41. Second place, Elkton with a 44.49. And third place, Bel Air with a 44.87. So first to third, separated by 0.4 of a second. Really close race.
So we have the, looks like we have a team missing here, Travis. So I see that we have, looks like Edgewood's out there for sure.
I don't think, no Aberdeen.
I don't think Aberdeen's out there right now, and that's a shame because that's the battle I wanted to see. This is a good race here for the first leg. Wow.
That was a great handoff from Bel Air.
Bel Air now. Edgewood had a little bit of a mishap on their handoff, and that cost them 10 meters. Now, I don't know if that'll be a difference when we come in here for the final, but every little thing matters.
Well, it looks like the Edgewood runner is trying to make up some ground right away.
Yeah, I see him trying to think about passing on the end of this straightaway, but the Bel Air runner feels him on his right shoulder. And you kind of sense that. You feel that as the runner's coming up on you. So he held him off. Now, what you do on decision here is Bel Air runner felt him catch up, and then he took off again. Sometimes you deliberately hold somebody off on the whole turn, then you kick it in the end. But he's already decided that he has enough energy. I'm seeing if we're going to have another upset here. Yeah, he's coming in with quite a lead there, and they looked at near hand. They almost had a mishap with that handoff.
And while we're watching the clock, thinking about Elkton from the last heat, it looks like they're right about on pace to push it with pushing the Hartford Tech and Edgewood possibly.
Wow, be interesting if they go up to second place from the second heat.
Another group that deserves a shout out today, just always our parents. coming out, fans supporting their athletes, other athletes, teachers that make it out here every day. It definitely means a lot to those students. So
We have a good battle there is happening for second and third, but we've got a clear lead for Bel Air coming into their anchor leg. So I want to thank all the coaches that helped us with information for the meet. Particularly, I want to thank Tim Lindekamp, the AD of Aberdeen, Donnie Mickey, the head coach at Sea Mountain Wright, Josh Rupert from Aberdeen. They all helped us with information. And then, as always, everybody here on our crew. So we are down to the last lap of the last race of the meet, folks. And hopefully we will have the final team scores on our screen as I'm closing up in a minute. But it's been a great day here. Beautiful weather. Great to see a lot of coaches and friends that I haven't seen in a while.
and again, you're all witnessing history right now. Hartford TV's first track and field meet.
Yes.
It's been a lot of fun. A lot of representation from a lot of our teams in Hartford County. And a great finish right there for Bel Air.
Great finish, great finish. So again, thank you for letting us do this track meet, and thank you for all the fans and participants here. It's been a great day, a lot of great races here at the Edgewood High School track. Thanks again, Travis, for being here. And I'm Ray Ruse with Travis Ruse here at Hartford TV. Thank you for showing up for this high school showcase event, and stay tuned for our next event.